happening. I mean, word gets around fast in a small town.
And you descended like a SWAT team, put cameras in the DEA's face and said, you guys should be ashamed of yourself. How dare... And people are getting all upset. It's like, could you imagine the DEA? Normally they're used to just going and raiding a shop and everybody being in terror. But here the peasants were arming themselves with video cameras and making fun of the DEA to their faces, saying, you guys are awful and should be ashamed of yourselves.
Yeah, I almost
Why
feel
don't
like
you
we
guys
shouldn't
go home?
I almost feel like we shouldn't say that as an acronym. We should just pronounce it phonetically. The
DEA?
No, just agents.
Yeah.
So, yes, that is what happened. I descended. Garrett Ian descended. We came in.
Yeah, and they're wearing masks, and they're putting newspaper
Some
print
had
over
masks.
Not
all.
They're putting newspaper over the window front because they don't want you videotaping them, looting and boosting everything.
Ridiculous video.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably one of my favorites that I've done. I mean, I've made a lot of videos over the last decade of various different activism and things that have happened here in New Hampshire and Keene specifically. And I got to say, the DEA raid video is probably one of which I am most proud because I feel like we really did something there. I feel like we had an impact, even though obviously we didn't stop the raid from happening.
Yeah, well, of course, the guys that were doing the raiding had assault weapons and Keene PD backing them up, so it might have been a bad idea.
I don't recall seeing any long-barreled guns or anything like that.
Oh, they were probably in the trunk somewhere.
They probably did have them. You're right about that. But these guys are brazen. I mean, they believe they could just waltz right in and steal $100,000 worth of store inventory.
Of beautiful tobacco water pipes.
That's right.
So, I mean, for those of you who don't know the story, basically, Phat Stuff is a head shop or a glassware shop. They sell glass tobacco water pipes.
And they've been in business for like a decade plus. It's been a long time. And they were originally not in Keene. They moved to Keene several years ago from a town south of here that's a lower population town. So they were obviously successful enough to where they could move to the big time. And now they're right on the main drag here in Keene, New Hampshire.
Yeah. And so, I mean, for those of you who don't know the story, basically, the news media, there were allegations they were selling synthetic cannabinoids, things like Spice and Griffin and a few of these. They're basically room-scented deodorizers. And in particular, an undercover DEA agent went in on August 9th, 2013, and bought a synthetic cannabinoid called PB22. Now, the problem for the DEA is at the time of the sale, PB22 was not a scheduled compound. It was not a unlawful drug to possess. So,
but it is now.
Well, the DEA didn't make it illegal until February 10th, 2014. So if you go back to the Constitution, the government cannot make an act retroactively illegal. That's called ex post facto. So if you sell PB22 and then the next day the DEA makes it illegal to sell PB22, you can't arrest them for the sale that happened previous day. Right. That's
Are there countries where you can do that? I bet there are.
Pretty much, that's I imagine most countries that have despotic regimes, but I mean, as long as we still have ex post facto in this country, it means that you cannot retroactively criminalize. So the DEA could not arrest them because by the time they criminalized it, Phat Stuff had already stopped selling the PB22.
That's right.
So they never broke any controlled substance laws. They had never distributed in violation of the DEA regulations a controlled substance, so they couldn't be arrested for that. And
they found something to arrest them for.
Well, you see, the DEA, they're not going to do a major investigation and then leave empty-handed. And so there are 100,000 pages in the United States Code. And so what they came back with was, quite creatively, 21 U.S.C. Section 846 and 21 U.S.C. 863. And what are those, you might ask, say? Well, that's conspiracy to offer drug paraphernalia for sale. So what is drug paraphernalia?
Yeah, that's what I'd like to know because, I mean, these people have been open, as I said, for a decade, and they were always super cautious. I mean, having gone into the store, they would ID anyone that walked through the front door of the store. It didn't matter how, you looked over 18, you're still going to get ID'd. And further, they were smart enough to not knowingly sell a bong to someone. Right? There are certain words.
Well, sometimes it takes a decade to get around to these things.
Well, I mean, what is the difference between a legal and lawful glass tobacco water pipe and a marijuana bong?
Well, the resin, if you actually use it for marijuana, would signify.
Well, what if I told you that there is no difference? They're physically the same object.
That's right.
The only difference is the intended use.
Right. Prior to its use, there is no difference.
So here's an example. Let's say you're a convenience store owner, and I come in and say, Ian, I'd like to buy this can of Coke from you for $1.
Okay.
You would say, okay, and you'd sell it to me. Is that a sale of drug paraphernalia?
No.
No, because you have no reason to believe I'm going to use it in the consumption of illegal drugs. Now, what if I tell you, Ian, I'm going to drink this soda, and then I'm going to put a rock of crack cocaine in the bottom. I'm going to hold a lighter up to it and heat it up so I can freebase it.
Then I would say, I'm sorry, but I have to refuse the sale to you.
If you are a bodega owner and you sell that can of soda, knowing that the person you're selling it to, and this is where it gets into legal murky territory, knew or reasonably should have known based on the circumstances. So if you're a store owner, there is none of this wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yeah, I'm not using it for pot and, Mary Jane 420. That is an absolute bad idea.
Yep.
If you are a head shop owner, do not joke. Do not make any kind of cutesy-tootsy remark like Mary Jane. Don't have any pot leaves in your store. And one of the things, when the undercover DEA did the raid, they made a big deal of, we seized several boxes of 420 pipe cleaner. Now, when you think about it, is there anything wrong with selling 420 pipe cleaner?
Absolutely not. They're just some numbers.
No, in fact, it's not illegal to sell 420 pipe cleaner. In fact, the First Amendment guarantees your right to call your pipe cleaner anything you gosh darn well want. The problem is when you go to a jury's going to hear, yeah, 420 pipe cleaner, ha, ha, ha. Come on, you knew these things were being
used.
Wink,
wink, nudge,
wink,
nudge.
wink. You knew that this cleaner was going to be used to clean marijuana bongs. It was not being used for glass tobacco water pipes. So if you are a head shop
Still,
owner,
though, that's a pretty long stretch, right? We're not talking about paraphernalia in that particular case.
Well, I mean,
right?
here's the thing. Why
it's not assisting you in consuming
a lot of people, this is what the problem with the law is. Most of us know that it's illegal to put a gun to somebody's head and ask and say, give me your money. How many people know that you could go to jail for selling a can of soda to somebody if you knew or should have reasonably known they were going to use that soda can to freebase cocaine?
I don't know. Probably not too many people realize that.
So it wouldn't be that hard if the DEA wanted to send an undercover agent into a bodega store and say, yeah, man, I have a really bad heroin habit. In fact, thank God the Santa Cruz, I'm going to freebase out of this later. That guy better say, sir, I can't sell you the soda.
Yep. The dollar isn't worth it to me.
Well, a lot of people are under the mistaken belief that, hey, whatever your business, it's your business. It's none of my business. As long as you're not doing it on my store premises, I don't have anything to do with it, and that'll absolutely get you arrested and charged with drug paraphernalia.
It's sad.
When you are a head shop owner, every customer's business is your business.
Could they do that out of a non-head shop business?
Yeah, they can do it in any business.
Right.
It's just that head shops...
They're targeting the head shops because it's politically popular to do so.
They're not going to fight back. I mean, if you go after a bodega owner because you set him up because he said, I was going to smoke a crack rock out of a soda can, most jurors are going to be, that's stupid. We're not going to convict a guy for selling a can of soda.
Well, what's amazing here is that well, first of all, they're not fighting back. They're taking a plea deal. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about why, because it's definitely the right thing for him to do.
I'd say strategically and tactically, it's the correct thing to do.
We'll talk about why that is, and we'll give you more details on what's happening with the Phat Stuff case. It's a unique case because it's been so well covered. There were 200 raids that happened on that same day, and you can't find video of any others. It's Free Talk Live.
February is National Heart Month, and chances are you have a cardiovascular issue like I do. I help maintain my healthy heart by drinking Super Beets. It's a superfood powder that I mix with water, but you can mix it with yogurt or put it in a smoothie, whatever you want. Not only does it help boost my circulation and support my healthy blood pressure naturally, but I feel the energy and stamina boost in about 20 minutes, which no other superfood formula guarantees. All the beets from Super Beets come from one non-GMO farm in California, so they can keep a close eye on the production of the dietary nitrates. I want you to try this product for National Heart Month. And if you don't feel the results, you don't pay, guaranteed. Get a 30-day supply free with your first order. You also get nitric oxide indicator strips so that you can see it's working. Plus, get the free book, Beat the Odds. And all of this comes with free shipping. Call 800-951-8940 or visit FTLBeats.com. I believe in Super Beats. 800-951-8940, FTLBeats.com.
Hi there. Are you an unhappy timeshare owner? Have you ever asked yourself, how can I get rid of my timeshare? Does your story go something like Stacy's story goes? Here's Stacy now.
My husband and I went and visited a resort, and they kind of attacked us, and they kept sending more and more people until we finally said yes, and we bought this timeshare, and then we were stuck in this timeshare that we couldn't get rid of, and we tried all different ways. They made it seem like it was this really great deal, and when we said no originally, then they brought the price down, and then when we still said no, they brought in the manager, and they brought the the price down even lower, and they started breaking out in different ways to make it look like it was this really awesome deal. The reality was it wasn't an awesome deal at all.
To cancel your timeshare contract, call ACC today. It's an attorney-based program with a free consultation. The first 20 callers get a 20% discount. Call now, 800-587-EXIT. That's 800-587-3948. Call today, 800-587-EXIT. That's 800-587-3948.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Tuesday, gold is down $1 at $1,235 per ounce. Silver is 7 cents lower at $15.34 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $417 US. Robertson Roberts Brokerage has been helping customers buying and selling precious metals for nearly 40 years. How might we help you? Give us a call at 800-874-9760 or see us online at rrbi.co.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We're updating you on the latest on the case of Phat Stuff. That's Phat with a P-H-A-T. Phat Stuff is a head shop in the heart of downtown Keene, and maybe the only video in existence, at least from the one day of the
Operation Synergy, the DEA's Operation Synergy. So
right.
Basically, the DEA targeted about 200 head shops across the country for selling synthetic cannabinoids. The only thing that was a little unusual about Phat Stuff is they had stopped selling synthetic cannabinoids to comply with Keene and federal law.
That's correct.
So by the time the DEA actually got around to raiding them, they hadn't actually broken any controlled substance laws. So I can't stress strongly enough, Katie and Panos and Phat Stuff never at any time broke controlled substance laws. They never distributed in interstate commerce a controlled substance like pot or synthetic cannabinoids in violation of the law. What they were charged with was distributing drug paraphernalia.
And money laundering.
And the reason it's money laundering is anytime you make $1, like if you commit a crime and you make $1 off that felony crime, you put that $1 into a checking account. A checking account is an FDIC-insured institution, and therefore, under 18 U.S.C. 1956 money laundering, it's an act of money laundering.
Hold that thought, TJ. We can dig deeper into this here in a moment. But first, let's go to David. He's in Ohio. David, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian Johnson and TJ the Spy.
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
Go ahead, David.
So, question for you. I'm in a situation where, unfortunately, I cannot avoid income taxes without violent thugs knocking down my door. And I'd like to minimize my tax footprint by donating to charities that help advance the cause of liberty.
Sure.
And there's a lot of charities out there. It's hard to know which ones where your dollar's actually making a difference and which ones are just kind of going in a black hole.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to get your guys' opinion, or maybe some callers as well. what are some pro-liberty? It could be small government or total anarchy, single issue, multi-issue. What are some charities you guys?
Well, actually, I can tell you as a person who's given thousands of dollars to liberty causes, I know Ian has as well through supporting activists directly or indirectly. Mm-hmm. And what you don't want is you don't want to give like $5,000 or $10,000 and then feel angry and resentful when you find out they squandered your money.
Oh yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Like the ones in D.C. blowing it on big offices,
fancy office parties, or that's the thing is you have to realize when you give your money away, you lose kind of control of it. It's now their money. And so my usual advice is start out small, give like $15, $20 and see how they respond to it. Like, as far as charities, like the ones I give to are usually people I know personally, so I can actually see how they're using the money that I'm spending. Of course, if you're trying to minimize your tax liability, you want one that has the official 501 or the tax-deductible piece of paper from the IRS.
Right, 501(c) or whatever.
C3, yeah.
C3.
Well, now you don't always have to. So, for instance, if you were to give money to a church, the church does not have to have 501c3 status in order for that to be a tax-deductible donation. There are a lot of attorneys out there who will lie to churches and tell them that they have to be 501c3 in order to accept tax-deductible donations, but that is just flat out a lie, or the attorney is misinformed. So, for instance, Free Talk Live is run by a church. So if you were to give to Free Talk Live or LRN.FM, then those would be tax-deductible contributions.
And by the way, if this turns out to be if there's some clause in the United States Code, Title 26, which is the Internal Revenue Code, if there's some little asterisk where that turns out not to be true, please do not arrest me, IRS. I had nothing to do with that piece of advice.
This is not legal advice.
I don't want to be. I don't want to be Irwin Schiff. Do you remember what happened to him?
He's in prison right now.
No, he's dead now.
He died in prison.
He died in prison. Yes.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I apologize. So, David, are we talking about $10 a month here? Or are we talking about $1,000 or $10,000? What kind of money are you looking to give away?
I'd probably start out small, but I think it could be in the hundreds. And as I grow my income, it could be up to $1,000, $2,000.
Yeah. So
what about specifics? Really you're looking for specific recommendations. I mean, TJ, you're just sort of generally talking about how.
I can
tell you. The Free State Project is 501(c)(3).
Yeah, that's right. The Free State Project.
I can tell you who I've given my money to. I've given it to Tor, the Onion Router, as part of EFF's. I've given it to the EFF.
Tor's a good one.
The Electronic Frontiers Foundation. I've given it to Tor, the Onion Router, which helps support sites like Alpha Bay and Nucleus and Outlaw Market, which are the successors to Silk Road.
I've given a little bit to Wikipedia because I use that.
Yeah, Wikipedia because I use it. What else? I think
Johnson. What about you? What do you give to charity?
I don't frequently.
Well,
infrequently. I mean,
he doesn't
in
have
the
a lot
last
of
10 years.
disposable income.
Ron Paul at one point, I think.
I don't know if that counts as a charity.
Not really a charity.
Yeah.
I did Shire Sharing. I've donated a lot to Shire Sharing. But that wasn't to be tax deductible.
Right.
So I don't really make tax deductible charity contributions at all, ever. Like
it's not something that crosses my mind.
It's been a long time ago. I did some stuff for the Salvation Army.
I give to charities, but not because it's tax deductible. But then again, I don't pay taxes, so that's why. But I understand why someone would want to do that. There's a great homeless shelter in the area here that I've given money to, and in fact, I'll be going to their masquerade ball this weekend. So that's one of the ones that I do on a local basis.
Well, for those of you that think earning money's hard, I'll tell you something even harder: giving it away. Because
why is that hard?
Well, it's because when you give your money away and then the person squanders it or wastes it,
that's hard.
Then you're really burned.
Yeah,
it's like, well, I could have spent it on myself and had a much better time.
If I were to do tax-deductible charity stuff, I would go the Zuckerberg route and start my own charity and donate to it.
Well, actually, speaking of Mark Zuckerberg, you heard what happened when he donated to the Trenton, New Jersey Public School District?
No.
Oh, yeah.
They squandered all $100-something million of that donation that Zuckerberg... on just administrators and overhead.
That's the government school district. That's the problem. That you shouldn't donate.
Yeah. Right. Well, he was naive. He gave it to a bunch of bureaucrats, and they took his money and then squandered it. And now he's like, well, I'm not giving you any more money. And I'm like, well, Mark, I didn't say this to him, but I'm like, if he would have come to me, I said, well, Mark, I can guarantee you they're going to waste your money. That's what government schools do.
Sure.
What about youth, younger people? I feel like older generations are kind of set in their ways. If we're going to get more liberty, it's trying to educate some of the younger people while they're still young. Are you familiar with any effective organizations that are helping in that regards?
I am, but none that I see. That's the thing. Is like this is like asking me who you should have sex with. It's like, do you know any girls that are really, really hot and would kind of like me? It's like, well, I don't know. I can tell you the ones I like. But, everybody's different as far as like the NRA would be like, I could say, give your money to the NRA, and I'm going to have 50 callers calling in saying the NRA is a sham, and they waste your money, and they're just playing.
I would say don't give your money to the NRA.
You need to give your money to the Gun Owners of America instead.
It's a better group. It is a better group.
Yeah, well, I mean, but some people would say, no, the NRA is better. So, I mean, like, this is kind of asking, like, what's the best religion? What religion should I give my money to?
I'm looking for some there's no liberty movement out here in Ohio, so I have no one to talk to. So I'm just trying to get an idea of some names, and I can do my own research. Maybe I'll disagree, that's fine, but maybe someone or a caller can clue me in on someone. I look into them, I'm like, hey, this is exciting.
So I would say
Corey Moore's not on the air anymore, right?
The Corey Moore Show is not on the air, but there are some folks in Ohio. Virgil Viduva's out there. He's doing good work with Cell 411. Right. In fact, I believe Virgil is doing a fundraiser right now. Actually, we should get him on the show to talk about his latest fundraiser, because his first fundraiser he did, Cell 411, for those who don't know, is a decentralized messaging app. David, I want to keep talking about this. If you want to stick with us, you're welcome to hang on. We'll keep discussing options for who you can support, because I think the smaller the organization, the better. You're likely to get more personal feedback. You'll be able to better know how your money is being spent, and it won't have this big bureaucracy of, let's say, the D.C. think tanks where they've got these huge
like
buildings
and
staffs and things like that. 855-450-FREE. It's Free Talk Live.
Are you worried about how dangerous the world has become? In these days of terrorist attacks, natural disasters, or even a future collapse, you need to be medically prepared to keep your family safe. I'm Joe Alton, MD of store.doomandbloom.net, where you'll find an entire line of uniquely designed medical kits and supplies for when help is not on the way. For everything from individual first aid kits to the ultimate family medical bag, go to store.doomandbloom.net today. That's store.doomandbloom.net. You'll be glad you did.
Are your Google search results killing you? Unflattering content in blogs, news articles, online reviews, social media, or other sources can jeopardize your reputation, your business, and your livelihood. Let Reputation.com help. Our patented technology will make the truth about you more visible while pushing down unwanted negative content. Improve your Google search results. Call Reputation.com at 1-800-831-0771 for a free consultation. That's 800-831-0771.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp, is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
If you want to move to the Free State and you're looking for some real estate.
Oof, I think we've all had enough of that jingle, don't you? If you're going to invest in property in New Hampshire, it just makes sense to support a liberty-friendly realtor. Call Mark Warden of Team Porcupine Real Estate for investment property or rentals in the Free State. Or visit his website. Come on, you know it.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com. Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. I know this sounds unbelievable, but at my house, we saved as much as 45% off of a new item on Amazon. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Now, Liberty Stickers is not a 501c3, to my understanding. It is a business, and they're certainly trying to make money, and that's okay.
Not to make that evil profit.
And they're doing it in a brilliant way by offering you a bunch of different, really smart and downright bombastic, poignant, liberty-oriented stickers that you can put on the back of your car, your bicycle, your laptop, or whatever. So people can see them and think about stuff that they normally wouldn't think about. Go to libertystickers.com, and you can place your order there. If you want to custom order some stickers as well, you can do that through them. libertystickers.com. Tonight in studio, Ian here.
And Johnson.
And TJ the Spy.
We've got David on the line in Ohio. He's asked an interesting question. We're going to talk more about the Phat stuff raid by the DEA and what's going on in that case with a plea deal that's being taken. That we're going to come back to. But David in Ohio, he's got a glut of money that he wants to spend, or at least a little bit, and he wants to spend it as wisely as possible so he can get spend it with charitable organizations so he can get a tax deduction and not have as much money go to the federal government, which, anybody, I don't blame anyone for wanting to do that. But the question is, with whom do you spend it? With which charities do you decide to give your money if you're a liberty-oriented person? And what, David, thanks for hanging on, because I think it's an important question that, other people are going to be asking themselves. It is 1 month, actually, right now from tax day, April 15th, so people are thinking about this kind of stuff.
Actually, I have an idea, and I wonder if TJ would know this. This is, again, not advice. I'm not suggesting anyone do this ever, but what would happen if you were to start a business and show a massive loss by just paying people?
And well, are you a for-profit business?
Yes, but what if you run at a loss?
Well, then you
invested a bunch of money in the business, and you were paying employees, and
you don't have to pay any taxes on that, right?
Right. All that money just went away.
Well, that is correct.
I know someone who had that experience, and I think there's so many years where if you can't show a profit, then the IRS says you're no longer a business.
Yeah.
Right. So generally, then you'd have to start a new business.
Well, no, generally the rule is 5 years. So what's the difference between a hobby and a business is if you haven't made a profit within 5 years, you're a hobbyist, and therefore, that's and this is actually important. Like when you open a restaurant, you might spend $500,000 your first year buying fryers and point of sale systems and maintenance on your building and whatever, getting the building set up the way it is, and you're not going to make that $500,000 in profit your first year. You might make, say, $200,000. And so you'll have a $300,000 loss. Well, that $300,000 loss will carry over to next year's Schedule C if you're doing an LLC, or if you're doing an S Corp or a C Corp, it'll carry over the next year. And then next year, if you make another $200,000, well, now you can take off the $300,000 loss. You have a $100,000 loss. Your third year, you make $200,000. Well, now you subtract $100,000. You used to have a $100,000 profit. You now finally in your third year start paying income taxes. So that's generally how that works as a rough rule of thumb. Now, the IRS has lots and lots of rules over how you can depreciate your equipment.
Yeah, I'd rather not talk about IRS rules, but let's get back into the issue of charities here.
Well, the whole reason why I brought that up is I was just thinking that if you had started a business, you could hire some people, friends, whoever you think needs some charity, and just hire them to shuffle some paperwork or something like that.
Well, unfortunately, though, you're going to be paying payroll tax, self-employment tax.
There's all kinds of regulations with hiring people, plus, that's true.
Yes, and if you hire them, you'll have to have unemployment workers insurance, which James is actually getting a bunch of letters from the New Hampshire Division of Employment Security right now. It's just fun. Whenever you get the government involved, they send you lots of letters telling you need to fill out forms.
I still think that would be cheaper than paying the taxes outright, and then you would also have you would really be able to select who that money would actually go to, and almost in the form of a charity.
If you're going to do it that way, I just say give them to them under the table. Don't try to set up a business if you're trying to help specific people, and then there's no government forms and stuff.
That's true. But then are you getting any tax breaks? Not really.
All right, so back to the main issue of which organizations to give to. Now, I don't know if Cell 411, I mentioned Cell 411 before, it's just a good organization. I don't know if he's set up any, I highly doubt it's set up as a 501c3
We're
or
lousy
like
radio hosts. Shouldn't we have like a whole list of things? You need to give to Red Cross, and you need to give to the EFF.
Well, that's not a Liberty, Red Cross is not a Liberty-oriented
Well, I know,
group.
but
I think
shouldn't we
he's
have like a
specifically
list of
looking for that.
organizations that, we all...
We don't. So here we are. We're coming off the top of our heads.
St. Jude's.
Also not a Liberty-oriented group.
No, but you've given, so...
Because
given to
even
them, but
something like I support the Free State Project, I've donated to them, but I don't want someone to tell someone, yeah, you should give your money to the Free State Project. They give $1,000, and then Carla Garrick or one of the other people rubs them the wrong way, and then they're all mad at me that I told them to give money to the Free State Project.
You're basically saying that we need to have a list of telling people what to do.
Yes.
Well, no, I don't think it's telling someone what to do. It's just making suggestions.
Sure.
Okay, so he just asked for some ideas, and that's what I'd like to give him. So,
I actually just say start small with like 50 or 100. And what are you trying to get? What are you trying to get out of the donation?
He's trying to get a tax deduction.
Well,
first and foremost.
there are many ways to get a tax deduction.
Go ahead, David. Go ahead.
I want to
David.
get a tax deduction, and I want the money to be used effectively to spread liberty.
Right. So
I do like the Free State Project. I will be at Pork Fest, so maybe get to smooth some of the folks there, and
So there are some organizations that are doing a better job than others of spreading liberty, and I think that if you're willing to give outside of Ohio, I would say steer away from D.C. I don't think that any organization in Washington D.C. is doing a good job. So scratch all of those off the list, and then look at New Hampshire because there are some really great things going on here. The New Hampshire Liberty Alliance.
Actually, what about downsizedc.org?
They might be organized in that way. They do good work, and he's also doing a new project now, Jim Babka. But yeah, look into them. I think he's actually based in Ohio, as a matter of fact.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, I would probably say I'd probably say like the American Civil Liberties Union because they've represented us in the Robin Hood case for free, and of course,
that's the New Hampshire
Civil Liberties Union
that did that.
Again, like
some people don't like the ACLU, but the NHCLU is a different organization. They're related to the ACLU, but they're not entirely the same. They're more, in my opinion, more liberty friendly in New Hampshire than some other ACLUs. So you can be more choosy like that. But there's the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance, and again, I don't know what all the financial taxi statuses of these groups are. I suspect New Hampshire Liberty Alliance is 501c3, but I'm not sure. This is a great group that is actually advancing liberty through the political channels here in New Hampshire. That what they do, for our listeners that don't know, maybe you already know, David, but for those who don't, New Hampshire Liberty Alliance every single year rates on a scale of A through F, and there's actually a lower rating than F, which is constitutional threat. They rate all 400 state representatives, all 24 state senators here in New Hampshire, and they rate them based on their actual voting record of did this individual vote in a pro-freedom voting method over the last year. And so they come out with their liberty rankings for each year. Very, very useful. That's one thing they do. But they also rank each piece of legislation. So Darrell W. Perry is one of their volunteers. He's not on the air with us tonight, but that guy has read over 130. At last time he told me, which was a few weeks ago, he had read over 130 of the over 800 pieces of legislation that are under proposal this year. And not only does he read them, but he goes through and he fills out a questionnaire about each one as to, well, is this affecting liberty here and there? And there's like a bunch of questions and things that he answers about each one of those. And the idea there is they've got these volunteer bill reviewers. These guys are not getting paid. They got these volunteer bill reviewers who go through every piece of legislation if they can.
You couldn't pay me enough.
No, it's you've got to be a real lover of that kind of thing. It
requires a very special kind of person. Darrell W. Perry and I are.
I think you could handle it, TJ.
Yes,
you could do it. So anyway, he does an awesome job there. But this is a big project that needs funding. They need help. They're designing systems. They've got like a mobile app that they actually designed to help people navigate the sort of the bureaucracy of the state house, and they're doing a lot of cool stuff there. I became a lifetime sponsor of that particular organization because I think they are doing that kind of valuable work. So I'd look into nhliberty.org. This is a way for people, even if you don't have money, if all you have is some time to give, they will accept you as a volunteer even if you don't live in New Hampshire. So, you don't need to live in New Hampshire to be able to read a piece of legislation that's proposed for New Hampshire. So I highly recommend that particular organization. And, of course, Free Talk Live and LRN.FM. You talked about spreading the message of liberty. That's what we do. We do it 7 days a week. LRN does it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I've actually got a satellite sponsorship thing that I'm putting together behind the scenes right now. And that's going to be coming out soon. As soon as I get it done, I don't know if it's going to be this week or next, but we're looking to raise money to get LRN on a new satellite. If we can get there, it's going to be more expensive than the two that we currently have. So, David, I hope that helps you. And if you've got any other questions, you're welcome to stand by. 855-450-FREE. And if you guys have more specific suggestions, we'll continue. Maybe you, the listener, you want to throw something in the mix. Please do.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
Hey guys, Pat Matthews here to tell you about the newest and best way to sell products online. It's buysellmakeoffer.com, an enormously revolutionary way to sell your stuff online. It's time to clean out the garage, your old golf clubs, sports equipment, tools, and yes, even your car. Forget about the way the other guys have taken more than their share from you when the sales were finalized. Look, it's happened to me over and over and over. Then I found buysellmakeoffer.com. They will never charge you item fees. Just go there right now to sign up and load all your stuff to our server to sell. This is not an auction site. Sell your car, sell your home. Realtor, sign up now. Just use our resources along with Skype and videos, then add your creativity to sell your items quickly and with no fees. Go right now to buysellmakeoffer.com and sign up. The excitement is building. I've signed up to sell my stuff with buysellmakeoffer.com. You should too. buysellmakeoffer.com.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit, did your nerves spike? You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. And you can join us here toll free, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. We were talking with David in Ohio about what libertarian charities are there that are actually worth giving to. Which ones are actually propagating the ideas of liberty effectively? And to whom should he give his hard-earned money to in order to avoid having to pay it to the federal government, which obviously I think that's a much better idea, to put money into the hands of a libertarian charity, even if it's a wasteful libertarian charity. It's probably better than giving it to the government across the board. But some of them are better than others. Some are more efficient. Some are more effective than others. So if you've got a suggestion, our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And I did, of course, mention the AMP program, as I'm obligated to do, which is the Advertise, Market, and Promote. And I think you came up with this idea, Johnson, a long time ago. It has been a very important tool for Free Talk Live. It's been around for more than a decade now. It started, I believe, in 2005. And we've had some listeners who've been on board ever since pretty much the very beginning of the AMP program. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. And the idea was, I think you lifted the idea from Leo Laporte, the tech podcast.
Correct, yes.
He was asking people for a couple bucks a month, and so we did the same things. $5 a month is a way for you to support our mission here of spreading the ideas of liberty as far and peace as far and as wide as possible. I'm sure Leo lifted it
from NPR.
Yeah, it's not an original. It's not an original idea.
No.
It's just a good one, and it's a way for you to contribute on a very small level. $5 a month. I mean, you've got a Frosty there in front of you, Johnson. I don't know if it's a $5 Frosty.
No, I'm sure it's not.
But a cup of coffee usually, if you get a fancy cup, it's going to run you $5.
I thought about bringing coffee, but then I'm like, nah. If I bring this much coffee and drink it at 7 o'clock at night, I'm going to be up until 4 in the morning.
But yeah,
I would think that on this program, kind of saw the writing on the wall that this sort of podcasting needs to be kind of somewhat supported by listeners.
It has to be.
It just has to be.
We couldn't have gotten where we are without the AMP program.
And I just saw that a long time ago. And too bad. The only thing I can say is too bad is I wish that way back at the beginning of this program that Patreon existed.
Yeah, well. Yeah.
I mean, just a tip to people out there: if you have any kind of creative side to yourself, and you have a regular creative medium that you are engaged in, you make YouTube videos, you make photography, drawings, whatever you could do, music. Patreon's a great way. It's basically kind of like it works like the AMP program, but without having to pay programmers.
Oh my God, I've had to pay so much money.
Ridiculous amounts of money.
So much of money has gone into designing the AMP program behind the scenes, but that's not your problem.
No,
it's working now, and it works pretty well. We accept Bitcoin.
There have been some scoundrels.
Well, let's move on past that. It's over. The AMP program's going fine now. The program works, and you can go and sign up at amp.freetalklive.com. Major credit cards accepted through PayPal. Visa and MasterCard you can do right through our website, and now Bitcoin is available. So we've got a few different ways for you to support the show.
Patreon does not accept.
Tisk on Patreon. Well, so that's one thing you can do is support what we're doing here, because when you support the AMP program, you're not just supporting Free Talk Live, you're also supporting LRN.FM, which is basically a charity, straight up. I mean, LRN's never made a dime. It'd be nice if it could, but it just doesn't. It's a love of liberty that drives us here. In fact, even on Free Talk Live for, I think, from 2002 through 2006. I don't.
So your satellite programs, are they for LRN or are they for just Free Talk Live? When you are looking,
I don't understand the question you're.
So
asking.
when you're looking to get content up on the satellite, do you run the FTL stream or do you run?
Oh no, it's LRN.
It's LRN.
The satellite channel is LRN.FM. My God, it would be boring as hell to hear the same show over and over again. But anyway,
I mean, so you could eventually get to the point where LRN could become visible enough and in enough markets and radio where it starts to turn a profit, right? I mean,
no. Anyway, I don't think so. It's a pirate radio network first and foremost, so you're not going to get a show like the Rebel Love Show where they say the F word.
We are broadcasting without the government permission slip.
So, I mean, LRN.FM was something that was created to give an outlet to other liberty-oriented shows. And
you'd think there'd be liberty-oriented and independent advertisers who might be interested in getting on something if it's got a large enough reach.
You would think so. It would require some marketing, and it's hard enough to market Free Talk Live as a show to advertisers because we're a niche. Liberty's a niche. That's why the Free State Project exists.
But a growing niche. It's a niche, but it's a growing niche. Soon we'll become like the Fox News of liberty.
It seemed like it was growing under the Ron Paul campaign, but that was just because of all the excitement surrounding him. I don't know if you can argue that it's growing at any sort of appreciable clip. Liberty's a niche. There's not a whole lot of interest in it out there. That's why the Free State Project exists. If liberty was growing at a decent clip, no one would need to gather together in the same geographic area, which is, of course, the idea behind the Free State Project. Yeah. And so what I've done with LRN.FM is I've created a way to basically promote my competition, because I know that Free Talk Live isn't right for everybody, but there are some shows out there that might, resonate better with different types of people. And so I tried to collect as many of them as I could onto LRN.FM, and then we get it onto satellite signals. So we're actually over sub-Saharan Africa with SES-5, which is a very powerful satellite that covers almost all of the continent. Not quite, but a good swath of it. Probably the majority of it. We've got North America, Central America, and I'd like to get Europe and the Middle East and North Africa, and there's one satellite that can accomplish that. So if we can raise enough money to do that, I'll move ahead with that, and that's sort of the next big fundraiser that we're going to be doing behind the scenes here on Free Talk Live.
Yeah,
so
I always wondered why in the Soviet Union, they put up with all kinds of government repression. The thing about the Soviet Union, the Soviet communist system, is it was incredibly deadly and brutal. Millions died in their gulags and their concentration camps.
Sure, but it's not so bad now in comparison. It's still bad in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
it's
you're
a gay guy,
it's only incredibly corrupt, not just totally corrupt.
Yeah.
So, but I often wondered, why is it that liberty in some parts of the world flourishes, in other parts like North Korea, it seems to be. It's holding on. That's one thing about liberty, is no matter how brutally oppressive the government is, liberty always survives in the shadows.
Of course, it'll flower the more oppressive government is. The more likely people are to whisper about ideas of liberty if they are being oppressed. I don't know if I mentioned this, but you can go to amp.freetalklive.com if you actually want to support the AMP program for $5 a month. We sure would appreciate it. It's the reason why we're on 170-plus radio stations, so please go to amp.freetalklive.com. But are you wondering why there's a variety of countries out there?
It's
just life. There's variety.
Well, does liberty spring forth from the culture, or is because you can have words on a page that says America is free and equal and all.
But it's not free.
But
it's
exactly
not
right
here.
But we have words on a paper that says all men are free in this country.
Which
but we're not
those
free.
words were written down because they were being oppressed. Right. It was the king who was oppressing people, and they said, "We've had enough of this."
It is an irony. The 4th of July, every 4th of July, we celebrate our independence from Great Britain telling us what to do by setting off fireworks that can only be manufactured in a licensed fireworks factory that the ATF gives permission to. They have to be transported by a DOT-approved transporter. They can only be sold by a a Federal Explosives licensee.
We know a guy who went to prison for fireworks sales on eBay. His name's Roger Veer. He's known as Bitcoin Jesus.
Bitcoin Jesus, yeah, because the thing is, if it's okay to sell fireworks, you just got to have the government's permission, and they can't be too big because the Consumer Product Safety Commission. Too many people are going to hurt themselves using cherry bombs.
Oh, yeah.
Remember cherry bombs? You used to be able to go.
No, I don't remember cherry bombs. Did they have them in our lifetime?
Yes.
Okay.
The Consumer Product Safety Commission they said they can't be too loud because children could have their hearing hurt.
I know they got rid of M80s.
Oh, yeah, the M80 firecrackers. It's hard to believe, but just, less than 80 years ago, you could go down to the corner store and buy a case of dynamite. You didn't need a Federal Explosives license. They would go, it's like dynamite. Of course, why wouldn't you? What happened in the past 80 years? Like 1933, you could buy a fully automatic Thompson submachine gun, $50 mail order. No ID, no Form 4473.
And there weren't people mowing
FFL,
each other down in the streets over that.
Yeah, no $200 tax stamp, no 9-month wait, no 2 sets of fingerprints, 2 photographs. So really, in 1933, we were trustworthy enough to have machine guns, but come 1934, the government said, well, you can still have it, but you got to pay a $200 tax.
Didn't they also take gold from people in 1934?
Yes. Well? Franklin Delano Roosevelt signed his executive order saying nobody's allowed to own gold bullion.
All right. So, Johnson, what's your answer to TJ's question?
Well, I'm coming out of complete left field. I wanted to ask if either of you had seen the most recent Bernie Sanders campaign video.
No, I've never seen a Bernie Sanders campaign video.
Well, sometimes they go around on Facebook. People share stupid things sometimes, or they just
should we watch this?
Yes, because Roger Veer is mentioned as a 1%er in the most recent Bernie campaign video.
This is an official video from Bernie Sanders?
I believe so. Yeah.
Can you find the link for me and send it to me? We'll see if we can pull it up.
I believe.
But let's get back. Look for the link, and then I'd like to answer TJ's question. You're asking why was there this fall away from freedom over the last 80 years?
Yeah,
and I think there's people have sort of a competing nature. If they're being oppressed, they want to feel more free, but there are other people who want to, essentially be told what to do. They feel comfortable.
Yeah, having the government
being
say
told what to do.
And it always starts out, we're not going to ban your right to have a machine gun. We're just going to make you have to get a piece of paper first.
We'll continue. 855-450-FREE. Join us on Free Talk Live.
Are you searching for your soulmate? Someone you can trust, who will never betray you, or cooperate with the NSA? Stop searching. With EasyDNS, you found a keeper. EasyDNS does it all. Domain names, web hosting, and managed WordPress hosting. EasyDNS stands up for your internet freedom, and with servers in Canada, they do not cooperate with the NSA. Go to EasyDNS.com. You'll love their services or get a full refund. They guarantee it, and they accept Bitcoin. That's EasyDNS.com.
As a pioneer of the e-commerce movement, Overstock.com is proud to be the first major retailer to accept Bitcoin. Overstock was the first because Patrick Byrne, Overstock CEO and founder, firmly believes in personal freedom and cryptocurrency. Over the past 16 years, Overstock has furnished over 18 million homes with a diverse line of products to suit everyone's unique styles and preferences. Support Overstock and freedom of choice while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at SurvivorMax.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, March 15th, 2016. Silver is trading at $15.27 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,232 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $420. Antiwar.com reports Monday's massive car bombing in the Turkish capital of Ankara, the second such bombing in 3 weeks, is loudly blamed on the Kurdish PKK by ruling officials, hoping to parlay it into increasing support for their ever-escalating war against the Kurdish southeast. Yet, if the claims hold true, it reflects a big problem for the Turkish government that their war against the Kurdish separatists is fueling some pretty major blowback outside of the southeast, and the Erdogan government's gleeful escalation into Kurdish territory, as well as attacks against Kurdish areas in Iraq, aren't making Ankara any safer. Turkey has no shortage of security woes, with a long border with the Islamic State, a war against seemingly every Kurdish group in the region, and a Marxist-Leninist group that launched its own bombing attacks from time to time. The car bombings show an increasing scale of such attacks in Turkey and have security analysts expressing concern that Turkey is going the way of Iraq and Syria, with huge bombings and civilian casualties just part of daily life. As Turkish officials continue to hype the threat, their lack of a realistic response is all the more glaring, as abandoning the ceasefire has made Turkey a dangerous place indeed, and the government's only answer is to keep doubling down on that mistake. The Daily Decrypt is a Monday through Friday newscast about all the best news in cryptocurrencies and peer-to-peer networks. Know what's hot in the world of digital money, borderless trade, and cutting-edge communications. Available on YouTube, SoundCloud, and Facebook video. The Daily Decrypt is the news of the future. UPI reports the Department of Justice on Monday pledged $2.5 million for efforts aimed at preventing local courts in the United States from overcharging poor defendants with fines and fees. The agency announced it was sending a letter on Monday morning to courts in all 50 states, calling on judges and court administrators nationwide to eliminate what it says are unconstitutional policies that have kept poor people in a cycle of fines, debt, and jail, and advising on how to properly levy fines and fees. The letter, penned by Vanita Gupta, head of the agency's Civil Rights Division, and Lisa Foster, director of the Office for Access to Justice, states individuals may confront escalating debt, face repeated unnecessary incarceration for non-payment despite posing no danger to the community, lose their jobs, and become trapped in cycles of poverty that can be nearly impossible to escape. The $2.5 million in grant funding is proposed for localities with plans to test strategies to restructure the assessment and enforcement of fines and fees. The funding and letter a year after the Justice Department concluded that Ferguson, Missouri Police Department and court system ran a money-making fine and fee program that appeared to disproportionately target minorities. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports New Jersey voters will decide whether to expand gambling beyond Atlantic City, the state's distressed casino hub, after the state legislature on Monday approved a ballot measure for November's election. The state constitutional amendment calls for laws that would allow the creation of 2 new casinos at undecided locations in northern New Jersey, which is close to New York City. Currently, casino gambling is legal in the state only in Atlantic City, which had 4 of its 12 casinos close in 2014 because of increased competition from neighboring states. Don Guardian, the mayor of Atlantic City, has said that expanding gaming will further doom his city's dwindling hold on casinos in the region and could spark further casino closures there. But the Democrats, who control both houses of the state legislature, said expansion was needed. Gary Scher, chairman of the Assembly Budget Committee, said in a statement, "For a state sorely in need of new revenue for vital needs such as programs and property tax relief for senior citizens and disabled residents, this is a win-win. This proposal would help bring a brighter economic future for our state." The measure also calls for the revenue from any new casinos to go back to Atlantic City. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Every 44 seconds, someone in the United States suffers a heart attack. In 9 out of 10 instances, the heart attack victim will fail to theatrically stumble to the ground and grasp their chest. Don't be a statistic. A heart attack occurs when oxygenated blood is obstructed from flowing properly to the heart muscle and requires victims to act quickly by lurching around with one hand clutching their chest and the other hand reaching out for drapes, blinds, or tablecloths to violently yank out. The first 30 seconds of a heart attack is a critical window. If standing at the time of an attack, move into what is known as the L position by doubling over and grimacing in an unnaturally strained fashion. Use one outstretched hand to grasp for support as you stumble forward, while using the other trembling arm to sweep everything off a table.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
We are launching into the second hour of the program. You can join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well. You can join us on Skype by calling username LRN.FM. So feel free to reach out to us that way if you like. With you in the studio, you've got Ian here.
And Johnson.
And TJ the Spy.
And, of course, don't forget, you can always join us online anytime at freetalklive.com, where the features are free, unlike those other talk show hosts in the business who want to charge you for their site. So please enjoy at freetalklive.com. And I don't know if I mentioned this in the last hour, but if you want to support the Cell 411 fundraiser, go to our Facebook or Twitter. You can go to facebook.freetalklive.com or twitter.freetalklive.com, and I have posted, as of tonight, the link to that fundraiser. And that is a good way to support Cell 411, which is an awesome app that you can download for free for iPhone and Android, and it helps you respond to your friends and family members' emergencies. It decentralizes emergency response. It's had a huge spike in growth in the number of users they have over the last few weeks, and major congratulations and kudos to Virgil and the team there at Cell 411. Now, TJ the Spy, you were asking a moment ago, and I don't know if you already know the answer, and you're just asking for the
Well, I was asking
purposes.
rhetorically. Well, I thought I'd just like to point out the irony of we fought a war of independence because the British government
we
was
weren't
saying,
there.
Well, we weren't there, but our ancestors said to the British, hey, you're not going to come take our guns. You're not going to come bust into our house without a warrant and try and tax us. And when they came and we actually fought back. And I mean, could you imagine today? Oh my goodness, we would be terrorists. The Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, they would all be labeled terrorists today. You would have the British FBI. They would be
domestic
terrorists, insurrectionists, rebellionists.
Right.
And I just thought it was somewhat funny that the way we celebrate freedom is by setting off fireworks, where we have to get permission from the federal government to make the fireworks, transport the fireworks, buy the fireworks, and set them off. In a lot of cities, you can't even set your own fireworks.
A lot of states you can't use fireworks.
Yeah, I remember at Maryland and D.C. So
not the good ones, at least.
Yeah, I always remember, like in Maryland, I forget. I'm not sure if I got this reversed, but in Maryland, where I used to live when I worked at Fort Meade, they could sell fireworks in D.C., but you couldn't sell them in Maryland, and there would always be a trooper right at the border. Yeah. Watching people buy fireworks in D.C. and transporting them back across state lines.
Was that because there was a fireworks store right across the line?
Yes, there would be a fireworks store right across the line, and the Maryland trooper would be sitting there watching people bring the fireworks back into Maryland.
Yep.
He'd pull them over and then write them a citation for having
Massachusetts did that too.
What I want to know, TJ, is would you hang lanterns in your window to let them know, one if by land, two if by tour?
Two if by tour.
Two if by tour.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that happened here, too. When I first moved to New Hampshire as part of the Free State Project back in 2006, there was news, like within the first year or two that I'd lived here, the exact same story. New Hampshire has relative fireworks freedom. There are some things that are restricted, but not much. Whereas Massachusetts, Maine, other states have very, very restrictive rules against fireworks. And same situation, fireworks store right across the state line. State troopers sitting with a pair of binoculars watching people getting into their cars with Massachusetts plates and then pulling them over as they, finding some excuse.
And of course, they're not doing it to stop violence.
No,
or to
it's
protect
revenue.
You. It's a revenue generation. Of course, it's about revenue.
But they
generation.
did stop, apparently. From what I understand, that policy was changed or something. It's not
it's because the tax slaves were starting to revolt and write their representatives.
Maybe.
Because we still have a system where I think a reason a lot of people aren't getting sense is like, well, we have a representative and he represents us in Congress and we pass these laws, and even if they are misguided sometimes, they're doing it for your protection and your best interest.
We are the government, they'll say.
Yeah.
It's a government for and by the people, they will say, even though the evidence is that it's a government for and by the elites in most places. New Hampshire is an exception to that because in New Hampshire, the state representatives and state senators only get $100 a year plus a small gas stipend to do their job.
Yeah,
so basically, you have to lose money if you are.
What we have right now is a system where you're really free the more money you have. So, for example, I am allowed to own a fully automatic MP5 submachine gun, a fully automatic machine gun. And a lot of people, I just love it. Aren't those illegal? No, they're not illegal. They're perfectly legal in most states to own.
As long as you pay off the feds, right?
Yes. So the thing is, Senator Hughes back in 1986, he passed an amendment that said only machine guns made before this date can be transferred to a private person. So a brand spanking new machine gun, if you're a manufacturer, you can only transfer it to a federal entity or to a government entity. Whereas if you are a private citizen and you want to own a fully automatic machine gun, it has to be made and registered on the National Firearms Act registry before May 5th, 1986. So my MP5, I paid about $30,000 for it. But really, really
hunk of metal.
Well, really what's valuable is the sear, the fully automatic sear inside. It has a serial number on it, and that serial number is registered to me. So I have a piece of paper from the ATF. It says Form 4, has my name and my picture on it. I sent in 2 fingerprints, a $200 fee. And so what I really say is I sent in $200 tax stamp, and I paid $29,950 for the piece of paper and $50 for the part. But
that makes it from a semi-automatic to an automatic.
Automatic, yeah. The little $50 part is what makes it full auto. And you can make a full auto AR-15 or an MP5. It's very easy to do, but you'd go to federal prison if you did so.
I almost carried 2 fully automatic machine guns in to the show tonight on my feet.
Really? Yeah. Well, I mean,
TJ knows what I'm talking about.
What does that mean?
You see things like something
Hold
like
on,
that.
what? I want to know what that means.
TJ's going to answer. TJ will.
You almost.
This.
Well, I didn't quite get what you said. I have 2 fully automatic machine guns.
I almost have 2 fully automatic machine guns on my feet. My shoelaces.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot that. Okay, that's a long story. That's an inside joke. I'll explain it later.
Inside jokes are no good for on the air, so you're going to have to explain what that means.
Well, it relates.
Okay.
It relates pretty strongly to what we were saying.
Okay,
the $50
so if you
part.
actually, if you are listening at home or on the radio, just Google Shoelace machine gun, and it'll basically self-explanatory. Yes, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms ruled that a pair of shoelaces was a machine gun.
What?
Because just Google it, and it's really funny. Like when you hear like the airsoft rifle case. I mean, like. The ATF is one of the most ridiculous and silly agencies I have ever seen. They actually seized a whole bunch of airsoft rifles and said these are automatic machine guns because if we drill out the receiver, we replace the barrel, we replace the sear, the trigger, the hammer, and it took us about 2 hours, but we replaced all the parts and it fired a 7.62 millimeter round. So therefore, it is a firearm, and therefore, because you don't have the license, we're seizing the gun. And I said, yeah, my Toyota Camry is basically a Ferrari. All you have to do is replace the engine, the doors, the hood, the trunk, the lights, the steering wheel, and it's a Ferrari. But I mean, no, that was the so. If
What's that have to do with shoelaces?
Google shoelace machine gun.
Not everyone has Google. There are people in there are people listening to us in Africa.
A shoelace can be used. So basically, when you pull the trigger, the slide goes forward, and the shoelace catches and pulls it back. And
So
then fires
basically,
again.
what he did is the bolt flies back, and it loosens the tension, causing the trigger to reset. When the bolt slams forward, the shoelace tightens again, pulls the trigger, and they ruled that. A machine gun is defined as any weapon that can fire more than 1 round per trigger actuation or any part that readily converts a gun into such a weapon.
Machine gun. Okay, so I see what you're saying because when I've seen this before with where you just use your finger. What you can do with a semi-automatic like an AK-47. Let me finish the explanation. What you do is with like a semi-automatic like an AK-47 or something, you sort of hold your finger in one place in the trigger and then you pull the gun forward a little bit.
Yes,
and
bump
then,
firing.
Right, and then it just keeps firing.
Now, that is not a machine gun, though.
But that's basically what the shoelace does, right?
Well, it's like this is the thing about the law. What is a machine gun, right? Well, the Staples definition says it's anything that fires more than 1 round per trigger actuation. It doesn't say anything like this is the problem. Like law, we think a machine gun, it's something that goes brrrr. That's what we think a machine gun is. But legally, that's not what a machine gun is. If you have a button and you hold down that button and it goes bang, bang, bang.
You have a machine gun.
That is a machine gun. The rate of fire is irrelevant in terms of law. Does it fire more than 1 round per trigger press, whatever a trigger press is. And so they ruled that the machine gun, because the trigger press was pulling on the string, that was the trigger actuation, more than 1 round came out of that gun. Therefore, the shoelace was a machine gun and had to be registered as a machine gun.
But if it's your finger that's doing the work, then
it's not a machine gun. So, like, they have these stocks. They're called bump fire stocks, where they allow you to hold the trigger and the recoil action going back and forth will allow. But they said, well, those aren't machine guns. For every round that goes out the gun, the trigger's being moved 1 time.
Yeah, that's true.
And therefore, it's not a machine gun.
Toll-free number tonight, if you want to join us here, is 855-450-FREE. You can also answer TJ's question about why does freedom wane? Why does it go away over time?
I think my theory is like I call it the manatee effect. Like most of us don't ride manatees for fun. It is a federal crime to harass an endangered species, which manatees are.
Hold the thought. We'll hear more about the manatee effect, and you can share your thoughts at 855-450-FREE. It's Free Talk Live.
Imagine your life 5 years from now. Are you on the path you want to be on? It's time to take control of your future by getting a world-class education from one of the nation's top universities. Arizona State University is now offering over 100 top-tier degree programs 100% online. It's the exact same degree our on-campus students receive, but you can learn from anywhere in the country on your own schedule. For information, call 1-800-939-9426. Learn from ASU's world-renowned faculty and use ASU's global recognition to improve your visibility, professional network, and gain real-world experience you can start using today. The Wall Street Journal ranked ASU 5th in the nation for producing the best qualified graduates. Now discover how ASU Online can stand out on your resume and help separate you from the competition. We're ready to help you learn to thrive in your life, in your career, and beyond. To learn more about ASU online degrees, call 1-800-939-9426. That's 1-800-939-9426.
As if chlorine in our water weren't bad enough, now they're adding ammonia?
It's true. Some municipalities are now adding ammonia plus chlorine to your water supply. It's a disinfectant called chloramine. But with a trusted Big Berkey water filter, you can keep chloramine out of your water. New NSF EPA certified lab tests show EPA Berkey water filters remove chloramines, pharmaceuticals, BPA, pesticides, bacteria and viruses, all forms of fluoride, and much more. Big Berkey water filters are the original and most trusted on the market, the gold standard in water purification. And our filters last for years at less than 2 cents per gallon. Big Berkey, the one that's powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get your Big Berkey today. Call 1-877-99-BERKEY or click BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can join us here if you want. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. If you're getting online and you're not protecting yourself, you really ought to consider taking a few steps. And one of the first steps you might want to look at is ProXPN. It's a virtual private network, and they encrypt your data right from your computer or mobile device. Whatever device you're using, they probably have a ProXPN app for you. Windows, Mac, iOS, Android. There's even Linux support as well. Unlike other VPNs, however, ProXPN keeps no logs of your activities whatsoever. With more servers being added all the time, ProXPN's working hard to give you greater speed and security compared to other VPNs. Plus, if you're a Windows user, you can ask ProXPN about changing your DNS settings for even greater anonymity. They take credit card and even Bitcoin. You can use code FTL50 and get 50% off of the regular monthly price for the lifetime of an annual account. It can be cheaper per month than a good cup of coffee. Use the internet the way it was meant to be used. Go to proxpn.com now and use code FTL50 to take back the privacy that is your right. With you in studio, it's Ian here.
And Johnson.
And TJ the Spy, who's on a roll in a rant and soapbox.
TJ, you were going to tell us about a manatee effect. What is that? What are you talking about?
Okay, so
there?
you know manatees are these sea cow creatures that are off the coast of Florida.
Yes.
They're endangered.
I grew up in Florida, so
I came from
sea
Florida as
cow.
well.
And so basically back in 2012, Ana Gutierrez, she was videotaped riding a manatee. And so the local St. Petersburg police said, we want to locate this woman and talk with her, which, by the way, folks, if you're ever on TV and the police are saying, we want to talk with this identified person, for God's sakes, do not go turn yourself in. So she did the right thing / wrong thing. She went and told the police, oh, it was me. I'm sorry. I didn't mean anything by it. I didn't know riding a manatee was illegal. Because, well, manatees are endangered species, and it is a violation of the Lacey Act, that's Title 46 of the United States Code, to harass, disturb, or touch in any way any endangered species. Like a sea turtle, like when I was scuba diving in Hawaii, they said absolutely do not touch those sea turtles because they're endangered species, and that's a federal crime. Well, so are manatees. And so she was riding a manatee, and she was arrested and charged with violating, harassing a manatee. And
harassing a manatee.
Yeah, and they actually did. They arrested her at work, did the perp walk, and had the whole thing. And I'm like, the Tea Party down there got upset, and they said this is an overreach of power. What did she do that deserves jail time or being fined? She
they got to send a message, TJ.
Yeah, right. And of course, the Daily Show, in typical Daily Show fashion, totally missed the whole point. They're like, look at these stupid Tea Party people. They are talking about freedom, and what do they come up with? They have riding a manatee as an example of what we want to do with freedom. And it's like, well, no, that's the whole point.
Next, it'll be sex with manatees.
Well, you see, 99% of the population doesn't care about riding a manatee.
That's right.
So there's no real push to fight for the right of a person to be like, look, if you want to touch a manatee, go right ahead.
First, they came for the manatee riders, and I was not a manatee rider, so I did not stand up.
Here's an example. Let's take it with guns. Why
narwhals.
Most Americans don't own machine guns. So if the government proposes a law to restrict the sale or storage or transport of machine guns,
most will say go for it.
Someone like me, I'm going to speak up vocally because I own a machine gun. The law affects me. But a lot of these laws, if a law only affects like 1 or 2% of the population, the other 98% will say, well, sure, that law is a stupid law, but it doesn't affect me, so go ahead and pass it. I'm not going to fight over it, or just let the government pass that law.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is, well, we're all in a 1 or 2% group of one sort or another.
Yeah.
Be it a gun owner, or maybe you're a person who likes to homeschool your kids, or maybe you're a person who likes to make fireworks, or maybe you like to make medicine, like maybe you like to make marijuana crispy treats, and the government comes in and says, well, and so that's why I call it the manatee effect. It's where the government divide and conquers us.
Correct.
They say
there's an actual name for that too, and I don't know what it. There's like some sort of economic rule that, and I bet one of our listeners probably is yelling it at the radio right now.
Well, call in and tell us
our toll-free
what
number
it
is
is.
855-450-FREE. Basically, it describes what you're talking about. Like, for instance, if the Congress is proposing passing some law, you might have enough time or effort to that you're willing to expend to write a letter, but to actually go to D.C. and to protest and to get put up in a hotel room for a few days while you join some sort of protest, most people, that's out of their range of possibilities. And so they don't do it. They have to be super motivated in order to do that, and only that 1 to 2% is motivated to do that, which means that it's going to be a small protest, and it's never going to change anybody's mind.
I'll give you another good example, like in L.A. with the raw milk SWAT team raid. So
of Rawsome Foods?
Yeah, something like a co-op, organic food co-op. They were selling raw milk in violation of the city ordinances. Now, you think about it, the milk is labeled raw, unpasteurized milk. Some people like to drink unpasteurized milk, but the government has stepped in and said, no, even though you know it's unpasteurized, you know the risks of drinking unpasteurized milk.
Wait, this was California that did that,
This was
right?
Los Angeles, California, yep.
Not the feds.
Not the feds.
Right.
But I was giving an example of a city ordinance where they say, we're going to ban the sale of raw milk. Well, since most people don't drink raw milk, nobody speaks up and says this is wrong. So I'm of the opinion, even though I don't drink raw milk, if they tried to ban raw milk in New Hampshire, I'm going to be throwing a holy fit, because I'm like, that's a stupid law. It's none of your damn business what kind of milk I drink. If I want to drink raw milk, I'm going to drink raw milk, and you're not going to stop me.
The corollary of what I was talking about, where people, this new law, whatever the proposal is to ban or regulate, it might affect even a lot of people, but it only affects them enough to where it's not worth it. Whatever the amount they would have to pay for the extra tax isn't worth the amount amount they'd have to pay to go and put themselves up in a hotel to protest. But the industry that is wanting the regulation, it is worth it to them to hire a lobbyist and go and get these laws
to pay
passed.
off the legislators. So I mean, like James worked at a dairy, and it was very clever. They gave $50,000 to the Democratic candidate, and they gave $50,000 to the Republican candidate, and James was doing the books. And when the one governor won, they then gave a $10 million work enhancement to create like 400 jobs. So they created 400 jobs for 2 months, and then they replaced all the workers with robots. And it's like, well, we held up our end of the bargain. We created 400 jobs. We didn't say we had to create them forever. We just immediately then turned around and replaced. I'm like, you know what? That's a huge return on investment. For $100,000 campaign donations to both parties, so they would win either way. But they got a $10 million, so $10 million, that's a 100-fold return on investment. You know, for $100,000, a 100-fold return. So, I mean, yeah, if you're a business, investing in politics is a huge return on investment. If you can pay off the legislators to give you tax credits or bonus programs or incentives.
Toll-free number tonight if you want to join us here, 855-450-FREE. Let's go to Sherry. She's in Missouri. Sherry, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian Johnson and TJ.
Good evening.
Hi, Sherry.
But I would just say, when did our legislature quit working for the people?
They never worked for the people.
Well, they used to.
No. When was that?
Well, way back when? Before money became an issue.
When was money never an issue for the legislature?
Okay. Well, what I'm saying is, George Washington and all of our founding fathers, they worked for the people. And
I don't believe it.
Oh, you don't think so?
Yeah, didn't George Washington go after the whiskey? Wasn't he the Whiskey Rebellion guy?
Yep, he was the one who's put down. I mean, that was the very first thing. We win the war, and what's the first thing we do? We have to stop.
We didn't win the war. You and I weren't there. You mean the federal government?
Oh, well, fair enough.
Yeah, so I mean, look, there's this particular viewpoint. If you want to come back, Sherry, we can continue with you here. There's this sort of this idea that things in the past were so much better. Yes. Well, no, there was still plenty of government corruption. It's just that we didn't have as much media back then, so you didn't know about all of it. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Politics has always been scummy. It's Free Talk Live.
Don't know what's in your drinking water? Better get a ProPure. With the Pro 1G 2.0 all-in-one filter, remove over 200 contaminants, including fluoride and lead. Taste water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure water filtration products. There's a ProPure system for you. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details on our current free shipping special or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Tuesday, gold is down $1 at $1,235 per ounce. Silver is 7 cents lower at $15.34 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $417 US. Robertson Roberts Brokerage has been helping customers buying and selling precious metals for nearly 40 years. How might we help you? Give us a call at 800-874-9760 or see us online at rrbi.co.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm.
Arcade City is a ride-sharing app built by drivers for drivers. It's more decentralized than Uber and Lyft. With Arcade City, you can keep all of what you earn. Sign up now to drive for Arcade City at arcade.freetalklive.com. Arcade City was created by New Hampshire liberty activist Christopher David. When he publicized the idea in January 2016, he hoped to recruit 100 drivers by the end of the month. Instead, he blew past his goal with over 1,300 drivers signing up in just 2 weeks. Arcade City is connecting drivers directly with riders and is disrupting the already disrupted transportation industry. If you want to get involved, you can join as a rider or a driver. To ride with Arcade City, visit arcaderide.freetalklive.com. To drive with Arcade City, visit arcade.freetalklive.com. That's arcade.freetalklive.com to drive, or arcaderide.freetalklive.com to ride with Arcade City.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us here toll-free. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well. It's Skype username LRN.FM. In studio, it's Ian here.
And Johnson.
And TJ the Spy.
And don't forget, you can join us online anytime you want at freetalklive.com. We give you the features on the site for free. One of the ways that you can help us out is by shopping with Free Talk Live. You get your shopping done by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Enter Amazon through the links you'll find there. There's Amazon UK, Amazon Canada, Amazon US. You just click into the right Amazon for you. Free Talk Live gets a cut of the purchase. Very, very simple. And it makes a difference for us. You get the same great deals you're used to. It's just that a cut of the sale goes to Free Talk Live because you're entering through our affiliate links at shop.freetalklive.com. We're back with Sherry. She's on the line in Missouri. Sherry, what else did you want to share with us here tonight? What were you calling about?
Well, you know what? I appreciate a different perspective because we are always learning. And sometimes it just stuns us, you know, when you... Anyway, what I wanted to share was to Ian's question last night about could they pass a statute to do away with common law. Mm-hmm. And I was stunned when I was watching C-SPAN about 10 years ago, Channel 3, which is the Judiciary Channel, and it was Justice John Paul Stevens. And that they take 2 oaths of office, and one to the statutes and one to the Constitution. And he was quite upset that the statutes oath was taken at the White House, and that the common law or the Constitution oath was taken at the well of the Supreme Court. And he said, but now they're taking both oaths at the White House.
What does it matter where they take the oaths? I mean, they're not following their oaths anyway, so who really cares?
Yeah. Fair enough, but that's the only branch of our government that takes 2 oaths, one to the statutes and one to the Constitution.
It's interesting. I mean, it's an interesting fact. I didn't know that was the case.
I have to say, as a former,
I'll take your word for it.
As a former NSA employee, I remember I was so proud on September 30th, 2002, when I walked in through those doors and they signed my name and I got my blue badge and they said, now everybody raise your right hand. I state your name, state my name, do solemnly swear to uphold and blah, blah. Congratulations, you are now U.S. government employees. And I thought, yeah, by magically saying those words, by raising my right hand saying, I will do no evil, I became pure white virgin as snow. There was no way I could commit an act of evil. I couldn't be bribed. I couldn't do something underhanded or misuse government resources. And I always thought it was just kind of funny how, like, when you go into court, they make you take an oath. I'm like, yeah, I'm magically unable to lie now on the witness stand because I said, I promise under penalty of perjury, and so help me God, I promise not to lie to you, that in some way makes any kind of a difference.
Sherry, thanks for your call tonight.
But what I'm saying is that they take two different oaths, and I think that is important.
Yeah, and they ignore both of them.
That's the only branch of government that does
Thank you for that trivia. I appreciate it. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
We'll have to have 3 oaths now because, as it gets like, we have a lot of corruption, so we need to have a 3rd oath that says you won't be corrupt. And when that doesn't work, they'll have a law that says you need to take 4 oaths and then 5 oaths and then 6 oaths.
Let's talk to Andy. He's in Texas. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Andy.
Hey, how you guys doing? Hey. I'm a disgruntled veteran. I spent 8 years in this man's army, only to come back from all the BS I had to go through to find out nothing that I was fighting for was real or true or anything like that. It really disgusts me.
That's got to be a shock to the system.
Yeah, well, let's shock the heck out of them. You know what I'm saying?
What do you want to do about it?
Well, hey, you know what? You don't want to know what I want to do.
Oh, terrorist!
Yeah, don't say
it on the radio.
Yeah.
But you're not the only one, right? I mean, there's a lot of.
I cussed. Cut me off.
There's a lot of disgruntled veterans, though. You're certainly not alone in that.
Well, my thing is, I mean, that Second Amendment, a well-regulated militia being necessary for a free state, the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. I mean, and here this gentleman before you, I forget what his name is. I heard his and whatnot. You guys are there, but I mean, he's talking about, well, I had to get permission to have this gun, and in some places it's illegal. No, if you read the Founding Fathers' afterthoughts that they wrote beyond the Constitution, all of this meant that we should have all the arms that our military has. And basically, we should be able to have tanks. We should be able to have tow missiles. We should be able to have...
Great. Well, actually, you can have a tow missile as long as you fill out the Form 1 or the Form 4 as a registered destructive device. You pay your two...
But that's a regulation.
Well, yeah, I have a pipe bomb.
Not freedom.
I mean, I have a pipe bomb. It's perfectly legal in this country. In Nevada, where I have my LLC, it's perfectly legal to have a pipe bomb. You just got to fill out Form 1. Pay your $200 tax, wait 9 months, and then you have to engrave it with the serial number. And then if you want to put RDX explosive in it and blow it up, you then notify the ATF that the destructive device was used up.
But I get what Andy's saying is that's not freedom. That's just,
I agree.
You're getting permission from a gang.
See, I say, the reason I have that freedom, the reason I have the ability...
It's not freedom. You're not free. You've asked permission, so you're essentially you're a slave.
Yes, I say, but...
You're a slave with a pipe bomb. Thanks for the call, Andy. I appreciate it. Thanks for the call, man. Appreciate it. Terrible sounding phone. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Whenever you have to ask permission for something, you no longer have a right.
Well, I was making the point, though, that I have more rights than you because I can pay for them.
Because you can afford
I can afford to pay the concealed carry weapon permit. I can afford to pay the permit fee and the tax fee for this and that. So I thought I would just love to pay every government fee there is and get all the permission slips I possibly can. And that way,
I wouldn't love that. That would make me feel...
I'm the freest American because I have the most rights, because I have the most pieces of paper
that say
I'm
right.
free.
Those aren't rights. Those are privileges. They're granting you the ability to have those things without fear of arrest.
Correct.
That's the privilege that you're being given.
They take your rights away from you and sell them back to you.
For a moment there, you sound a little bit like Donald Trump. We're going to have all the rights. We're going to have all the rights. I'm going to have so many rights, you won't even believe it.
Apparently, Donald Trump is winning
the freest man.
Florida, by the way. There's some primary elections going on today, and apparently Donald Trump is taking Florida.
I think so far, and the ones that are reporting, he's winning all of them.
If you're an ATF and agent, you're listening, no, I don't actually. It's legally registered as a pipe bomb, but no, I haven't put black powder in it. I use it as a chili cooker, as a joke. Whenever I go to a potluck party, I'd be like, you're being served a very explosive chili, very hot, out of this official pipe bomb. And by the way, don't leave it here because this is officially a pipe bomb. You could get serious federal prison time. And, of course, that's the whole joke. It's just a pressure cooker I bought at Walmart. Mm-hmm. But I paid $200 got a stamp from the ATF on a Form 1 as a registered destructive device, engraved the serial number on it, and now I can legally put gunpowder in it and blow it up if I so chose. But I don't. I just have it as a gag gift. So I just want to make that clear. I don't actually do stupid things like, blow up pipe bombs.
Good thing to know. By the way, I did check the numbers here, Johnson. It looks like Trump is currently winning every state except that is reporting, except for Ohio, where apparently John Kasich is the governor of the state. So that's why he's winning that one. Toll-free number.
Rubio did just lose Florida, so
Well, he wasn't the governor.
No, he's not the governor
of
but,
Florida.
Yeah,
what is he, a senator or something?
Yeah, I think so. And it is his home state.
Senator Marco Rubio. Yeah.
So there you go. Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. You can join us here. You can bring up whatever happens to be on your mind. Take control of the airways. We've got to go back to this DEA story. I think we've
Fat stuff. Yeah, we got a little sidetrack there.
We've exhausted whatever the various sidetracks we were on. For listeners just tuning in, Phat Stuff is a head shop that's actually amazingly still open.
Yes.
After having their inventory ravaged by the DEA back in 20...
Do you want me to kind of summarize what they did? So the DEA raided them. They took $15,000 in cash from the cash register and the checking account at TD Bank. They took their Ford F-250 truck, and they took
those aren't cheap.
Yep, and they took their about $80,000 or so worth of glassware.
That's right. And then later they arrested them. So it wasn't the same day, but it was months later. They actually came to their home and arrested them in front of their kids. And we'll continue because right now Panos Eliopoulos, the operator of Phat Stuff, is going to take a plea deal. We'll explain to you why that is. What's the deal that's on the table that he's taking? I think he's making the right choice. And I'm someone who advocates generally not taking the plea deal, but there are certain circumstances where it makes sense, and this is one of them. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can join us on Free Talk Live.
Today, how to incorporate your business in just 10 minutes so you won't lose everything if you get sued. Step 1, stop putting it off. If you're not incorporated and someone sues your business tomorrow, it's not just your business at risk. You can lose everything: your home, your car, even your life savings. Step 2, call the following number for a free 10-minute incorporation guide from Incorporate.com. 1-800-975-5269. They don't provide legal or financial advice. They just make incorporating quick and easy. So you can incorporate or form an LLC in just 10 minutes. That number again is 1-800-975-5269. Step 3, congratulate yourself. By taking just 10 minutes to incorporate your business or form an LLC, you protected your home, your car, and your life savings. And that is how you incorporate your business in just 10 minutes. But hurry while they're still giving away these 10-minute incorporation guides for free. Call 1-800-975-5269. That's 1-800-975-5269.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $7.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
This is the Fact Zone. I'm Brooke Alvarez. Our top story tonight: Congress has passed a bill naming incomprehensible shouting the official language of the United States.
I'm sick and tired of listening to people who say that Americans should not know what to know, and that's not what it is, what the policy is. The red-blooded American is what we have in this day and age.
Under the new law, public school classes will only be taught in incomprehensible shouting, and government agencies will no longer offer translators to non-shouting speakers. In addition, a new test will be added to the naturalization process, whereby potential immigrants must prove they have a working knowledge of incomprehensible shouting before they're granted citizenship. The movement started in 2008 with a grassroots organization called Americans for Doing It Right, because we gotta now, because who else, right? Come on!
This is the Onion News Network, a tomahawk of honesty in the skull of lies.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com. Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live, and you can join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. If you haven't seen the Phat Stuff DEA raid video, I just posted it on our Free Talk Live Facebook page and our Twitter, so you can go grab that there and check it out. 17 minutes long. And, you know, the average successful video on YouTube is, 2 minutes to 5 minutes or something like that. So it's a little longer than your typical successful YouTube video. But I thought it was so important. Like, I think all 17 minutes of that are worth watching. It's really just packed full of interesting things going on during this raid of a harmless head shop, a peaceful business that has been operated for something like a decade or more here in New Hampshire. It's on Main Street in Keene, and they were raided back in 2014 by the DEA in an operation that actually encompassed hundreds of raids around the country. Yep. And so you had DEA agents not just raiding Phat Stuff, but also in a lot of other places.
Yep, part of Operation Synergy.
Right, and the purported idea was that they were cracking down on places that were selling spice and other synthetic drugs. Ultimately, Phat Stuff was not selling those things in the time frame of the raid, and so they couldn't charge them with that. But they ended up coming up with some stuff to charge them with so they could justify stealing the entire inventory from the store. All they left were the one-hitters. And
well, those don't have any resale value. When the U.S. Marshals sell them at auction, those are no money. So they took all the stuff that was valuable.
Right. So this was a robbery,
like the cash and the car and the expensive bongs. But
this was a straight up robbery.
Oh, yeah.
That's all this was.
Of course it is.
And that's what I called them out on when that's one of the things that I said to them, because Garrett E and I came down there with video cameras. We literally camped out outside of this building for hours. And just so we could get this on video, what was actually happening. And I don't know if it's ever been done before. I don't know if you can find a video on the internet of a DEA raid.
In progress, yeah.
In progress.
And the peasants, the tax cattle going, you should be ashamed of yourself, Mr. DEA agent.
And then more showed up. Rich Paul showed up, and others. And
by the way, Katie actually told me, she said that meant more to her than all the other things. It's just having you out there videotaping and making fun of these guys, calling them out on their nonsense was so important to her. So I just wanted to pass that message along.
Well, thank you for that. So now, here we are 2 years later, basically.
Well, they were indicted in February of 2015, so we're a year later into the criminal proceeding, but they were raided in sometime in 2014.
Or it was like May, I think, of 2014, because the weather was pretty nice when that happened. And so they indicted them. They arrested them in front of their kids, which, of course, is a terrible thing to do. You can arrest them anytime, right? You could have called them up and said, "Hey, we're going to arrest you."
Oh yeah, no. You gotta. Well, you see, if you're a federal agent, why call the defendant up and say surrender yourself? If you can arrest them at home, then you can do a protective sweep. That's like a free Fourth Amendment search and seizure. You can arrest them in their home, and anything within grabbing distance of the suspect is now admissible as evidence. So
if they've got a bong or a gun or something like that.
No, police officers will deliberately do that. They will get the arrest warrant and then just wait for you to be in your home, or if you're in your car, and they will pull you over then. If they can't search your car, they'll wait until you're in your car, and then if you have a warrant out for your arrest as part of a search incident that arrest, they can search the car.
They can take the whole car, too, right?
Inventory search exceptions. So there's all kinds of exceptions to the Fourth Amendment.
So they hit them with these felonies. And
2 felonies. In particular, 21 U.S.C. 846 is conspiracy to offer drug paraphernalia for sale, and 18 U.S.C. 1956, which is conspiracy to commit money laundering. And that was the biggie. Money laundering
It sounds bad. People
it's a
see
very
that and they
serious
think,
crime.
it's terrorists.
Up to 10 years in federal prison. It's a very, 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 very serious crime. It's not, money laundering is not just beating somebody up. Beating somebody up is a very minor crime compared to money laundering. What is money laundering, though? Most people, they hear it, they don't really know what it is. It's something they associate with drug kingpins and murder men. And what it is if you have any money that is the proceeds of an illegal act, and you spend it or deposit it in the bank or wire it or put it in your safe deposit box or do in any way.
So a prostitute could be a money launderer.
Yes.
If she's paid for something illegal and then she does something with the money.
If it's a felony act to commit prostitution in the state and then you put the money into an FDIC-insured banking institution, even $1, then the whole checking account is seizable. So even though the undercover agent went in and said, yeah, I need a glass pipe, the cops took mine, and they sold him a glass pipe. Well, that $5 that he gave them is now proceeds of a felony act. They were just selling a glass pipe to someone they knew or should have reasonably known was a drug user. And by selling that...
Which, this is something that you said actually happened. You looked at the case files. You read the documents from the PACER system, which we should mention that here in a moment. But that's one of the things that was the evidence, supposedly, that they were using against them. But I think that's not a particularly strong claim, right? Just because someone says the cops took my pipe doesn't mean that the pipe was...
I concur.
It doesn't mean it had marijuana resin on it. That just simply means that if you got arrested, you're going to get your pipe taken.
I mean, but if I was the lawyer for Phat stuff, I would have said, well... If anybody comes in and hints or winks in any way that the cops are investigating them, if they have like a pot leaf on their T-shirt, if they say the word pot, do not sell them under any circumstances. Do not sell to them because you are exposing yourself to criminal legal liability, and needlessly so.
And even if one of your employees does it, you're responsible, right? So
yeah, like I actually thought a good business model, if you're a head shop, I could send in undercover shoppers where I would try and like say, hey, dude, I'm a pot smoker. For $100, would you sell me a glass bong? And your employee, if he did so, I would report that back to your employer, and that employee would be fired.
Secret shopper.
Yeah, like a secret shopper. That employee would have to be fired because any employee, that is just, you are asking for serious criminal charges if you play footsie with the DEA. They're a very dangerous organization.
They are, and it's amazing to me that they're still in business. Like I said, they had their entire inventory stolen from them. They had their truck taken from them, their cash emptied out of their bank account, and yet they managed to keep their doors open. They're still down there.
So here's the thing is they are taking a plea. So here's the plea deal. It was offered on March 10th. They agreed to it. It's a binding plea deal.
You made an article about this, or James posted an article over at freekeen.com, which has all this detail.
All the detail. But basically, he's going to plead guilty to a misdemeanor charge of causing misbranded drugs to be introduced into interstate commerce in violation of 21 United States Code, Section 331. So that's a misdemeanor charge, and the government has recommended 1 year of probation.
So it's a labeling charge.
Yes. Well,
they're saying that your drugs didn't have the proper labeling on them.
PB22 was not a controlled Schedule 1 substance when you sold it, but it was still a drug. And by selling the drug in interstate commerce, because it didn't say PB22 on the package, it was a mislabeled or misbranded drug. Therefore, you are guilty of a misdemeanor. What this really, though, was, it was a way the U.S. attorney... It's a way they don't really want to go to trial. They just want to keep the money from the civil asset forfeiture case, United States of America versus $695 in currency. So Panos will plead guilty to this little low charge of misdemeanor misbranded drugs to be introduced into interstate commerce, 1 year probation. The government will dismiss all the felony charges against Panos, which was facing up to 10 years in federal prison. And they'll also dismiss all the charges against his wife, Katie. And that's another thing I'd like to point out.
Which, by the way, this has apparently been very damaging towards their marriage.
I mean, yes. By the way, I'd like to point out the mafia is way better than the DEA or the U.S. Attorney's Office, because at least the Italian mafia, they have a rule. They will not go after your family. They may come after you and kill you for violating their rules. Right. But if you violated the rules, they're not going to kill your wife. They're not going to threaten your kids.
In this case, they threaten your wife.
Oh, yes. Well,
and
they'll say
use her as leverage against you.
I guarantee you the U.S. attorney said something like Jennifer Davis. The conversation went something like this. Panos, you're going to plead guilty to misdemeanor charge of, or else your wife is going to be charged with felonies too. And we will make sure she gets 5 to 10 years unless you plead guilty.
Yeah.
They do that all the time. And that's why, honestly, if you're an evil person, the best thing to say is, no, go ahead and throw my mom in jail. I don't care about her. They do that kind of stuff all the time. If you're a fugitive from justice, they'll start seizing your mom's assets. They'll arrest your mom for something just to get you to surrender yourself.
Just to put the pressure on you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, any criminal defense attorney will tell you, absolutely, the DEA, the FBI, they play hardball.
So Panos pleading guilty to one misdemeanor charge, all felonies being dropped,
all felonies dropped,
and no jail time.
And no jail time. And this is the big one. They will drop any defense in the civil asset forfeiture case, United States of America versus $695 in U.S. currency at all.
Meaning we will not oppose your stealing of our money.
Yes. So
we will not oppose your stealing of our product.
Yes.
We're going to allow you to take $100,000 worth of inventory of pipes from the store, the thousands of dollars in cash, and then we'll call this a day.
That's what the U.S. Attorney's Office was really after. So the U.S. Attorney, they get to keep the $15,209 that the DEA seized from their store's cash register and their bank accounts. They get to keep their Ford F-250 pickup truck, and they get to keep all the glassware and sell it at auction to help boost their money. So this is basically now you have to understand. For Panos, if he went to trial, first of all, he would have to spend another $10,000, $20,000 for an attorney to go to trial. There's no guarantee that you'll win.
It's very unlikely
he would win. In fact, 90%
win.
of the time, the criminal defendant is convicted just because the jury, they were all educated in government schools, and you were told in a government school, if you don't agree with the law, you don't break it, you work to change it. And that
right,
is
and you won't get to tell the jury that the DEA is going to just sell all these things later on.
Yeah, by the way, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, they're not going to get to hear that if you find me guilty, they get to keep $100,000 of my money.
The toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE. If you want to comment on this, you're welcome to do so. Plus, Johnson, you've got a Bernie Sanders video that you wanted to share with us. We'll play that for you coming up in Hour 3. It's Free Talk Live. Here's a good idea. When you have a legal matter like creating your will or legally setting up a business with a corporation or LLC, you don't necessarily need a law firm. Use LegalZoom.com. At LegalZoom.com, you answer straightforward questions online, and they take care of the rest. They even review your answers for common mistakes and guarantee your satisfaction. Free Talk Live listeners, you'll get 10% off your order by typing in FTL in the referral box at purchase. Don't procrastinate with these important legal documents. LegalZoom.com.
Currency is too important a thing to be left in the hands of government bureaucrats, especially when billions of dollars can be created with the swipe of a pen. Overstock.com supports the cryptocurrency movement because it returns the power of an inflation-proof money to the people where it belongs. Did you know that you can use Bitcoin to pay for anything Overstock.com sells while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more? If you support freedom in the cryptocurrency movement, you should support Overstock.com.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are, 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, March 15th, 2016. Silver is trading at $15.27 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,232 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $420. Antiwar.com reports Monday's massive car bombing in the Turkish capital of Ankara, the second such bombing in 3 weeks, is loudly blamed on the Kurdish PKK by ruling officials, hoping to parlay it into increasing support for their ever-escalating war against the Kurdish southeast. Yet, if the claims hold true, it reflects a big problem for the Turkish government that their war against the Kurdish separatists is fueling some pretty major blowback outside of the southeast, and the Erdogan government's gleeful escalation into Kurdish territory, as well as attacks against Kurdish areas in Iraq, aren't making Ankara any safer. Turkey has no shortage of security woes, with a long border with the Islamic State, a war against seemingly every Kurdish group in the region, and a Marxist-Leninist group that launched its own bombing attacks from time to time. The car bombings show an increasing scale of such attacks in Turkey and have security analysts expressing concern that Turkey is going the way of Iraq and Syria, with huge bombings and civilian casualties just part of daily life. As Turkish officials continue to hype the threat, their lack of a realistic response is all the more glaring, as abandoning the ceasefire has made Turkey a dangerous place indeed, and the government's only answer is to keep doubling down on that mistake. The Daily Decrypt is a Monday through Friday newscast about all the best news in cryptocurrencies and peer-to-peer networks. Know what's hot in the world of digital money, borderless trade, and cutting-edge communications. Available on YouTube, SoundCloud, and Facebook video. The Daily Decrypt is the news of the future. UPI reports the Department of Justice on Monday pledged $2.5 million for efforts aimed at preventing local courts in the United States from overcharging poor defendants with fines and fees. The agency announced it was sending a letter on Monday morning to courts in all 50 states, calling on judges and court administrators nationwide to eliminate what it says are unconstitutional policies that have kept poor people in a cycle of fines, debt, and jail, and advising on how to properly levy fines and fees. The letter, penned by Vanita Gupta, head of the agency's Civil Rights Division, and Lisa Foster, director of the Office for Access to Justice, states individuals may confront escalating debt, face repeated unnecessary incarceration for non-payment despite posing no danger to the community, lose their jobs, and become trapped in cycles of poverty that can be nearly impossible to escape. The $2.5 million in grant funding is proposed for localities with plans to test strategies to restructure the assessment and enforcement of fines and fees. The funding and letter come a year after the Justice Department concluded that Ferguson, Missouri Police Department and court system ran a money-making fine and fee program that appeared to disproportionately target minorities. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports New Jersey voters will decide whether to expand gambling beyond Atlantic City, the state's distressed casino hub, after the state legislature on Monday approved a ballot measure for November's election. The state constitutional amendment calls for laws that would allow the creation of 2 casinos at undecided locations in northern New Jersey, which is close to New York City. Currently, casino gambling is legal in the state only in Atlantic City, which had 4 of its 12 casinos close in 2014 because of increased competition from neighboring states. Don Guardian, the mayor of Atlantic City, has said that expanding gaming will further doom his city's dwindling hold on casinos in the region and could spark further casino closures there. But the Democrats, who control both houses of the state legislature, said expansion was needed. Gary Scher, chairman of the Assembly Budget Committee, said in a statement, "For a state sorely in need of new revenue for vital needs such as programs and property tax relief for senior citizens and disabled residents, this is a win-win. This proposal would help bring a brighter economic future for our state." The measure also calls for the revenue from any new casinos to go back to Atlantic City. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Images of destruction are flooding in, and the worst isn't over. Experts warn that Hurricane Ashley could strike as many as 8 bars throughout the day. Her Cinco de Mayo plans, combined with all the recent drama with Scott, have created perfect conditions for Hurricane Ashley to cause a lot of damage this afternoon and well into the evening. Here's a look at Ashley's path of destruction so far. At 11 a.m., she landed on Foster Street, moving from O'Murphy's to the Blue Iguana, hitting the place that does the mini pizzas the hardest. And she's expected to merge with other high-pressure systems, including BFFs Jessica and Christy, within the next hour. Forecasters predict that some areas could see all 3 grown women obnoxiously shouting, wearing sombreros and fake mustaches as early as 5 p.m. The whirlwind might not die down until close to 2:30 a.m. when she's expected to be kicked out of a reggae bar called the Lion's Den for saying something racist. Our thoughts are with everyone in her path.
This is the Onion News Network.
This is Free Talk Live. There's our music.
Free Talk Live.
The toll-free number that allows you to join us here, 855-450-FREE. We're launching into the third hour of the program, 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well. Skype username is lrn.fm. With you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian. Oops, sorry about that. Try that again, Johnson.
And Johnson.
All right, there we go.
And TJ the Spy.
And you can bring up anything that's on your mind. We've been talking about the plea deal that has been reached finally with Panos and Katie Eliopoulos, who are the operators of Phat Stuff. That is a head shop on Main Street in Keene, New Hampshire, that was raided in 2014, along with hundreds of other places around the United States, in a coordinated DEA sting and raid called Project, what was it?
Operation Synergy.
Operation Synergy. They made a bunch of raids simultaneously on the same day, basically. Yeah. And I was there to capture it on video and heckle the DEA agents throughout this process.
You're lucky you didn't get Ruby Ridged or Waco'd. They could have pulled out their guns and said, "Oh, I'm in fear of my life."
They could have.
Ian Freeman was making an aggressive move, and that's why I shot him 10 times in the back.
They certainly could have done that. That's true, but
they would have had to have destroyed all the video cam footage. I mean, that's it.
They would have done it in the broad daylight with a group of people around watching, which would have been a little difficult.
That's kind of inconvenient. You know, if you're going to railroad somebody, you want to make sure you're not on film doing it.
Yeah. So anyway, we got the video of that. I posted it on Facebook and Twitter. You can check that out. I'm sure if you Google DEA raid Keene, that will likely pull it up for you on YouTube.
And just to be clear, just because somebody's pleading guilty doesn't mean that they didn't do anything. It means doesn't necessarily mean they did anything wrong.
That's right.
Morally or evil.
No, the people who did what was wrong and immoral was the DEA and the U.S. attorney who are bringing charges against these peaceful people who did nothing more than sell pipes to people who voluntarily wanted to purchase them. And now they were facing years in prison
10
for
years
it.
in federal prison.
So I don't blame Panos for taking the plea deal here. Now, I'm somebody who stands out in front of the courthouse and hands out flyers that say, "Don't take a plea deal." I do jury nullification. We were planning an event. It was his trial was supposed to start today. Their trial was supposed to start today, after being put off and put off and put off. And,
for a whole year.
And now, so finally, they were going to have it today, and they just came to this plea deal towards the end of last week, basically. And there were activists who were planning to go to the federal courthouse in Concord, New Hampshire, stand outside at 8 in the morning and hand out jury nullification flyers to the jurors.
Because remember, jurors in the federal court system are not allowed to know about possible prison sentences. So if the jurors are not allowed to know, hey, if you find Mr. Panos Eliopoulos guilty of selling glass pipes, he wasn't even selling pot. He wasn't selling cocaine. He wasn't selling heroin. He was selling glassware.
And looking at as much time in prison.
If you find him guilty, he could go to prison for up to 10 years. Yeah. Plus, the feds get to keep $100,000 worth of his money.
So you were going to do some kind of signage that was going to alert them to that?
I was going to put pamphlets or flyers on all the windshields around the courthouse because the jurors park.
That's a neat idea.
And so as long as you're not targeting the jurors, because we've had some problems with Julian Heiklin, the activist who stands outside the federal courthouse. The U.S. Marshals, they get really, really ticked off when you try and speak about jury nullification. They want to protect their turf, and they want to make sure they can railroad the defendants effectively. And the idea of, hey, you're a juror, You know, you have every right to say not guilty, even if the defendant is guilty, if you think the law is a bunch of BS. If you don't think he
that's what
deserves
jury nullification is.
Yeah. And I said, well, the person, even if they sold glassware, do you think it's right that they get 10 years in federal prison and lose their entire business because they sold glassware? Does this in any way seem to make sense to you?
Right, and you can't say that as a defense attorney in the courtroom, but if you're outside of the courthouse and you manage to, I don't know, show them some sort of big poster or talk to them, or as you're saying, put a flyer on their car.
Yeah, and just we say, psst, hey, there's this thing called jury nullification where jurors cannot be punished for their verdict. Jury deliberations are done in secret. And once a verdict of acquittal is reached, the defendant cannot be retried because of double jeopardy. So, yes, of course we have jury nullification in this country by the mere fact jurors can't be punished for their verdict, and a defendant can't be tried twice once he's found not guilty. So if you think the defendant doesn't deserve to be punished, even if he broke the law and there's clearly a law against what he did, you can just say not guilty.
You have to choose your conscience in that particular case rather than the law.
It's kind of unfortunate. A lot of jury nullification people will go into the court and say, "Yeah, Your Honor, I think the war on drugs is wrong and immoral, and
you're just going to get kicked off a jury.
I don't think it's any of the government's gosh darn business what I put into my body. If I want to put heroin in my body, that's none of your damn business."
Yeah, you never want to tell them that in advance,
unless you want to get off jury duty.
Yeah. Right. Which, if you're a jury nullifier, you should want to get on jury duty.
Yeah, right. But see, if they think you want to get on the jury, they're not going to select you. So you have to play this weird game of you got to pretend that you don't want to be on the jury, and you got to know how to answer the questions.
Shucks, you picked me.
So
I've got work that day. I can't make it.
Well, the kind of things
that excuse won't cut it.
So
it's a good excuse to try.
A common way that the prosecutor, the U.S. attorney, will try and ferret out jury nullification. They'll say, "What do you think about drug laws?" And what you want to say is, "Well, I think everyone deserves a fair trial." I'm not saying I'll vote to acquit or nullify. I want to hear the evidence.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a drug time, like I as a personal person, I will not convict somebody if it's drugs. Like if he says, "Yep, I had 5 kilos of cocaine in the car. I was going to sell it to another guy who was 25. He was going to pay me $100,000." I'm like, okay, not guilty.
Yeah.
Or if a guy said, I didn't pay my income tax because I don't think it's I'd be like, not guilty.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, you're not like most people. It's hard to get a jury to nullify. We've tried a number of times here, and we're going to have another chance, actually. We've got a guy who was arrested for telling off the cops.
No, Brandon Piney.
Brandon Piney. He is actually going to a jury trial on that, and it's going to be a tough case because it's going to be his word versus the police, jurors are likely to believe what the police say.
Well, that, and you also have what I call common sense jurors. Like, it is perfectly within your right to go up to a law enforcement officer and said, "Hey, I think you're a pig. You disgust me. I hope you choke on an apple because you are just a waste of money and a filthy piece of human being trash." You have every legal right to do that to a law enforcement officer. But I guarantee you, if you do that, he's going to pull out the cuffs and he is going to find a charge.
By the way, you wouldn't want to say apple in that instance. You'd say donut.
Yes.
Choke on a donut.
And, after you spend...
And pigs do eat donuts, too. Mark feeds his pigs
And you better
donuts.
have $10,000 for bail, because if you don't, you're going to spend 6 months in jail awaiting trial, and then the prosecutor will drop the case a day before trial because they don't want to appear petty. Like, really, you couldn't take a criticism. It's just some loudmouth criticizing, saying you're a pig. You really want us to put a guy in jail for calling you a name. And so
it's going to be an interesting case nonetheless, and that's another one that's coming up over here.
But a lot of common citizens, they don't quite grasp that thing. That like, well, he should have known better. He should have known that saying F you to the cop, that you don't do that kind of stuff. And I'm like, well,
we love our law enforcers. We have to protect them from bad words.
And unfortunately, if most jurors think that, then you're going to get convicted, even though the law says I have every right to go up to a police officer and cuss him out.
Which is the reverse of jury nullification. That's like ignoring the law in reverse.
Yes.
So I don't know if there's a term
it's
for
jury
that.
nullification, but in reverse. It's called jury nullification. So a good example.
Why would it be called jury nullification? What are you nullifying in that case?
In this case,
you're nullifying his rights?
You're nullifying his rights, yes. You're convicting him even when he shouldn't be
Johnson,
convicted.
you look confused.
No, I was just saying I watched a police interaction video earlier today where an officer pulled out his firearm because a guy it was just actually this guy pulled out it was like in a cul-de-sac, or it looked like a cul-de-sac, and a police SUV kind of pulled around, and this guy took out his camera and started filming the SUV, and the guy stopped, the cop stopped, got out, and then pulled out his firearm and pointed it at the guy and said, "Take your hand out of your pocket." Because he just was upset that the guy was filming, and so he just started to harass him.
Yeah.
And the
What
guy
happened?
said, no. He said he wasn't taking his hand out of his pocket, and he had no reason to. That the police officer had no reason to. He said basically when the guy asked him,
words.
he said, do you suspect me of having committed a crime? What do you suspect me of? Why are you even approaching me?
Shut up and do as you're told.
Don't touch me. And the guy's like, yeah, take your hand in your pocket. When I tell you to take your hand in your pocket, you have to. And he's like, no, don't touch me. Get away from me.
Where was this from?
I don't know. It was just a video I saw earlier today. Please, I don't know where.
If you're on a jury one day and someone cursed out the cops, just remember that today, the police will eventually come after you eventually. It's only a matter of time until the cops bust down your front door for either touching a manatee.
Oh, no, I'm a law-abiding citizen,
no, you're not.
They will say to themselves.
The United States Code is over 100,000 printed pages. If you can't find at least 20 felonies, I guarantee you if I took an average citizen's, I could easily charge him with 20 felonies if I was a U.S. attorney.
Toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Is Bernie going to save us from the police state? We'll look into him next. It's Free Talk Live.
Are you suffering with hearing loss? Are you sick of people constantly complaining that your TV is too loud? Are you tired of asking people to speak up? Would you like to hear more clearly, but you don't want to wear a hearing aid that makes you look old? Then you need to try Listen Clear, a life-changing breakthrough precisely designed by top audio engineers to fit your ear almost invisibly. And you can adjust Listen Clear to find the perfect way to hear everything, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. And right now you can try Listen Clear absolutely risk-free with free shipping. We'll even give you free batteries for life. So call now, 1-800-719-9349. Listen Clear is lightweight and completely hassle-free, and it's practically invisible. Call for your 100% risk-free home trial with free shipping and free batteries for life. For free information, call now, 1-800-719-9349. That's 1-800-719-9349. 1-800-719-9349.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-403-4885. That's 1-800-403-4885. 1-800-403-4885. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop, you save. Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadavi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
You can listen to Free Talk Live on the radio, podcast, satellite, webcam, and our live streams. But did you know you can listen to Free Talk Live from any phone, anywhere? Add this number to your phone, 213-493-0308. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The Listen Lines are airing the latest episode of Free Talk Live 24 hours a day, including our live shows. Call 213-493-0308. That's 213-493-0308. If you want to play online poker with Bitcoin, you need a site that's trustworthy and technically sound. The site managers of swcpoker.eu have proven their commitment to bringing you great gameplay from a site you can trust, swcpoker.eu. They have lots of new games too, including Chinese poker, and their Krill leaderboard is open right now. It's a beautiful site, easy to use with lots of players. Go on over to swcpoker.eu now and have some fun with your Bitcoin. swcpoker.eu.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Join us right here, toll free. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well. The Skype username here is LRN.FM. And with you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Johnson.
And TJ the Spy.
Have you checked out Arcade City yet? It's a big week for Arcade City. They sent out a press release yesterday. They've already gotten a bunch of coverage as a result of it, both from the cryptocurrency universe and the business world as well, because Arcade City is challenging the ride-sharing behemoths. Lyft and Uber, the two main companies in the ride-sharing business, they are facing serious competition from this upstart. Arcade City was created by Free State Project early mover Christopher David, who you may know as the illegal Uber driver from back in August of last year.
Being prosecuted for wiretapping.
That's right, and that's another case we're going to be following closely here on the show, and he is not taking a plea deal in that particular matter, so that'll be very interesting.
Better not. We'll have to go drag him out and say, no, don't do it, Christopher. Do not take the plea deal.
I don't think he's going to. I don't think there's a chance he's going to take the plea on that.
Well, you know, after about a year or two of constant continuances, I mean, the legal system starts to wear you down.
It does.
And that's what the prosecutor's depending on. They want to wear you down.
Anyway, Arcade City, you go to arcade.freetalklive.com if you want to drive for Arcade City. It's a ride-sharing app. It's available on iPhone and Android. It's built by drivers for drivers. It's more decentralized than Uber and Lyft, meaning they're decentralizing beyond the idea of even having this sort of central corporation that makes decisions. You as the driver, you can keep all of what you earn with Arcade City, which is a huge difference, and there's a lot of other cool differences as well that I'm not going to get into right now. Go to arcade.freetalklive.com to sign up as a driver. If you want to ride with Arcade City, go to arcaderide.freetalklive.com. As we continue here, any other thoughts to share on the Phat stuff raid, the plea deal? You can't blame Panos Eliopoulos for taking the plea. He gets to fall on the sword a little bit. He probably won't have to go to jail. He gets to get his wife out of the criminal charges.
And they don't have to raise their kid.
And no felonies.
Yeah, no felonies. And so the thing is, a federal criminal trial, you're going to spend $20,000, $30,000 defending yourself. And even if you win, even if you're acquitted, you don't
20 to 30 sounds low. I know Ross Ulbricht was like 100,000 or something.
Yeah, and $250,000 for an appeal in the Ross Ulbricht case. So, I mean, yeah, when you're talking federal criminal defense, even if you win, you still lose because you don't get the money back.
Right.
The prosecutor.
Well, that's true on any court. I mean, even if you just go to court for a parking ticket, you still lose because you're losing your time. You could be doing something more precious.
You cannot win in criminal court. I mean, even if you're acquitted, you can't win because you've spent $10,000, $20,000 defending yourself. And so this is actually the real danger of the government prosecution police state is they could come after you and say, yeah, we know you're totally innocent, but we're going to bankrupt you trying to defend yourself. And you know what? Once we've taken every penny you have because the lawyers are expensive, we'll force you into a plea deal. So I think what happened here is they saw that there was no way they could win. Even if they spent $20,000, $30,000, they were facing 10 years in federal prison. So even if they would have been acquitted, they'd still then have the civil asset forfeiture case to defend. That would be another $20,000 or $30,000.
Yeah.
So they were looking at $50,000 in legal bills, and they said, okay, no jail time, probation, a misdemeanor, so they're felon. So they'll still be able to have firearms. They'll still be able to have most licenses.
Do you think the feds will come back at them? Meaning that,
as long as they behave themselves and they don't criticize the federal government, one thing that could actually, seriously, if they were to publicly criticize the DEA or the U.S. Attorney's Office, absolutely they could come after them again. There is one thing.
They're going to try to keep their heads down.
The U.S. Attorney's Office, they are very petty. They play hardball, and they have all the cards in the federal court system. So, I mean, the U.S. Attorney's Office and the DEA, they are terrorist organizations. I am terrified of the DEA. I'm not terrified of some carjacker. When I go out in the world, I'm not looking over my shoulder for some carjacker. I'm looking over my shoulder for a police officer who's going to pull me over and say, I made a sudden move, and shoot me in the gun and say, oh, well, he made a sudden move for what we thought was a gun, and it was an accident. Oh, well. And by the way, they'll make up some rumor of that, oh, look at what he said or joked about. I'm sure they'll find something to make me look really bad. But yeah, I actually am. That's why I have a dash cam, and everybody should have a dash cam in their car. It's not to protect you. I mean, the big reason to have a dash cam in your car is to protect you from the police. The police, they will lie and through their teeth to get a conviction. They will say anything that they can, and if they can get away with it. In my experience, and I know this from personal experience, like James, they said he resisted arrest. Thank God he had the video camera going, because it clearly showed Trooper Gazer, the New Hampshire Trooper Gazer, was lying on the witness stand. He said he kept changing his story.
And most of the time they get away with it unless you have video.
Unfortunately for Trooper Gazer, James Cleveland had a video camera going, which
and
showed
an audio recorder
and
as well.
A secret audio
you
recorder.
can watch that video trial. It's up on the freekeen.com website. So let's change gears here. I think we've pretty much explained what's going on with
good luck.
stuff.
Congratulations to Pontus and Katie. We hope you recover from this. We're sorry you got robbed by the U.S. government.
It sucks.
I've bought my tobacco water pipe from Phat Stuff. I'm really pleased with it. They're really great. Great selection of
blow
stuff.
The glass right there in the store.
It's a really great thing.
So, Johnson, you had this. You've got a story that you wanted to talk about here in a little bit with a suicidal deer road sign.
But then you had mentioned Roger Ver, and I had just seen this earlier, and I thought that it's.
Roger Ver is the Bitcoin Jesus. He's a guy who is actually a Free Talk Live listener. He found out about Bitcoin from Free Talk Live, then proceeded to put some money into Bitcoin back when it was very, very cheap. And he did very well with his investment into Bitcoin and has given away a lot of it and has done a lot of charitable things with it. He's a great guy. But he appears in this new Bernie Sanders campaign video, which, Johnson, you said this was by the Bernie Sanders campaign. I suspect you are incorrect about that.
It's Occupy Democrats. It's
right. Fine. Okay, yeah. It looks like it's by someone from the Occupy Democrats. But nonetheless, they are promoting Bernie Sanders, and it is entitled Bernie Sanders, America's 1% aren't patriots. So here's the audio from the Occupy Democrats Facebook page.
I saw a piece in the paper the other day. It was quite incredible. The rich people apparently leaving America.
Yep.
They're giving up their citizenship. They're going abroad. These great lovers of America who made their money in this country, when you ask them to start paying their fair share
now they
of taxes,
show a bunch of faces.
No, yeah.
And they put their logos next to them, and one of them is Roger Ver with the Bitcoin logo next to it.
You got to ask them to start paying their fair share.
Yeah, that's the reason. We were just all of a sudden, we just said, you know what? For just the heck of it, we're going to renounce our U.S. citizenship. Because remember, in 2009, it was something like less than 1,000 people renounced their citizenship. And 2015, we had a record-breaking year. Over 4,000 Americans renounced their U.S. citizenship. I mean, it used to be such a rare thing. Think about that. In a country of 300 million Americans, only a couple hundred every year, less than 1 in a million, would renounce their U.S. citizenship. Now we're getting to 1 in 100,000. You know what? This pace is going to keep accelerating.
Well,
I mean, soon.
Fair share. Let me ask you. Ask me what a fair share is. Well, it's
everything.
A non-specified,
100%.
ever-increasing amount. We'll let you know.
No, it's 100% of everything you make. That's your fair share.
Well, in Roger Ver's case, he didn't leave as some sort of tax shield.
He's not a 1%er, I don't think. I mean, maybe he's super Bitcoin rich, but I don't think he's a 1%.
He's not even the richest of Bitcoin rich, as far as I know. I mean, I don't know what his personal holdings are, but the reason Roger Ver left the United States, and I don't want to put words in the guy's mouth, but we've interviewed him about this on the show. He didn't leave because of some sort of tax issue. He had to pay taxes to leave the United States.
Oh, yeah.
He had to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes because of his Bitcoin holdings. They knew about his Bitcoin holdings, and so he had to pay taxes on them in order to leave. The reason he wanted to leave was because they put him in prison for selling fireworks. He didn't feel safe here. It's Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. We'll continue the video.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today. Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
This is novelist Tom Robbins. When my mother was diagnosed with glaucoma, her conservative Virginia physician told her there was only one treatment that might ease her pain and save her eyesight. That treatment was medical marijuana, which he could not prescribe. I offered to get her some and teach her how to use it effectively, but my father objected because marijuana was against the law. So my mother, who loved to read and walk in nature, was condemned to grow cruelly, unnecessarily blind. Tragedies like this happen all the time, but they don't have to keep happening. To learn more about medical marijuana, call the Marijuana Policy Project at 1-877-JOIN-MPP or visit them on the web at mpp.org.
Cryptocurrency and peer-to-peer tech developments happen fast. Stay in the loop with the Daily Decrypt, a new video channel and podcast that will keep you on top of the latest innovations in crypto finance, security, networking, transportation, and gadgetry like drones and 3D printers. Subscribe to the Daily Decrypt on YouTube and SoundCloud and be an early adopter of the future. The Daily Decrypt.
Did you know that you can listen to and watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cam at cam.freetalklive.com? Not only that, but you can also chat with other listeners at the same time. Do I need to mention that both the studio cam and chat room are totally free? Outside of Free Talk Live's live hours, you won't see a cam feed, but will hear audio from the Liberty Radio Network. So listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can join us on our toll-free lines, 855-450-FREE. Bernie Sanders video from Occupy Democrats. We're in the middle of that. We're going to play a little bit more of it here. It's relatively short. It's about a minute and a half. And it's complaining about people like Roger Ver, who's a friend of the show, listener of Free Talk Live's. His face appears in this next to the Bitcoin logo. He's in this, I guess, list of what they're calling the 1%, these wealthy people who are leaving the United States or have left the United States, ostensibly to avoid taxes. But as I pointed out, Roger Ver had to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes in order to be able to get his citizenship removed. He could have just left, and then that would have been it. But he wanted to do it the legal way. He wanted to actually, revoke his citizenship, which, as you say, TJ, has become a much more popular thing in just the last year or two.
Skyrocketing. I mean, right now it comes down to cost and benefits. So what are the advantages of revoking or renouncing your U.S. citizenship? One of which is you're not subject to a lot of U.S. laws. A lot of U.S. laws, for example, it is illegal for you to consume I'm thinking of my usual example was like Cuban cigars. If you were in Canada and a U.S. citizen, if you smoked a Cuban cigar, you would be violating U.S. law. No U.S. citizen could ever consume or in any way go like. It was just this very bizarre thing that the Treasury Department said, yes, any American citizen, and Tom DeLay actually got in trouble for that. He was the Speaker of the House. From Texas.
For smoking a Cuban cigar?
He was seen smoking a Cuban cigar overseas, and the Treasury Department released a nastygram saying we want to clarify it is illegal for any U.S. citizen to consume a Cuban cigar anywhere in the world.
Does that mean it's illegal to go to Amsterdam and smoke pot?
That's actually a good question, and it was a very.
Is it illegal to go to Colorado and smoke pot if you live in Florida?
Under federal law, absolutely it is. The DEA, if they want to arrest you for smoking pot in Colorado, they absolutely can.
Apparently, a lot of people don't care about that because they're doing it anyway.
Yeah, because remember,
our own Daryl W. Perry, presidential candidate, went and ordered some marijuana-infused products and ate them.
The big problem for the DEA is the jury
when he was in Colorado,
of your peers.
By the way,
it's really hard to run over people's rights when you have a jury. If in Colorado, if the DEA were to bust some 18-year-old for having a joint, they can legally do that because he is breaking federal law. He's in possession of a
But he'll never go to a jury. They'll take a plea deal.
Well, no, but if they do go to a federal jury, they said
But they won't. And the numbers show that they won't go to a jury.
Well, in Colorado, the U.S. Attorney's Office decided to stop enforcing the cannabis laws, the federal cannabis laws against dispensaries because they couldn't get a jury of 12 people to convict them. That's what he said on 60 Minutes. The U.S. Attorney for Colorado went on to 60 Minutes and said...
But how long did that take?
Years.
Because California...
now they said our strategy now is to go after the banks. If you're a bank and you do business with a marijuana dispensary, you are committing money laundering, 18 U.S.C. 1956. We will revoke your banking license under Title 31. So a lot of banks, they absolutely will not do business with a marijuana dispensary.
All right, so let's get back to Bernie Sanders. This is the Occupy Democrats video that, Johnson, you suggested we pull up. So here we go. This is them outing the supposed America's 1% as not patriotic.
When you ask them to start paying their fair share of taxes, they're running abroad. We have 19-year-old kids in this country who died in Iraq and Afghanistan defending this country. They went abroad not to escape taxes. They're working-class kids who died in wars. And now the billionaires want to run abroad in order to avoid paying their fair share of taxes. What patriotism, what love of country.
I must
be
a lousy patriot because I don't support the U.S. military either. In fact, I thought it would be funny if I run a business. You know how they're always like, thank you for your service. If you're a U.S. military member, you get 10% off. Like I know at Lowe's, they give 10% off.
There's a lot of places that'll do that. The airlines will let you board first.
So, I'd have my business. If you come in and you're in uniform, I'd be like, nope, we're going to add 20% to your bill for all the pain and suffering you've inflicted on the world's people. So and we don't serve police officers. If you're in uniform,
there was a cafe in Portland, I think, that did that, or Seattle.
Yeah, I think that'd be kind of like, the police would come after you. Like if you were to open a shop in downtown Keene, like a restaurant, and say, we don't serve police officers here, they would raid you. They would come after you with everything they've got.
I don't think they raided the Red and Black Cafe. I believe that was what it was called.
You'd think that if you loved your country, one of the things that you would do would be to not go over to foreign countries and start killing people's families and creating terrorists.
Well, but loving your country means doing whatever you're told by the bureaucrats.
I got to defend the poor E2s and E3s here that are in the U.S. military. A lot of people join the military because it's the only economic opportunity they have. It's a good job. It comes with a lot of perks as long as you're willing to follow orders and do a bunch of crazy
stuff. And possibly die for politicians.
But that's not love of country, and it's also self-serving. It's
Yeah, but I think a lot of people...
I need to get ahead in the world, so let me kill a bunch of people.
Well, incentives matter, and if you want a job, you need a job, and the only job you can get is killing people. I am a little bit more... by the way, I'd like to say, if you're a police officer and you're one of the good ones that doesn't throw people in jail for stupid stuff just so you can get your arrest numbers up to get promoted, you're a very rare breed, and you're a dying breed. The new police officer, it's all about getting the number of arrests, more convictions, more. And as a result, police officers and federal agents have a huge incentive to make up cases wherever they can because they need to get promoted. If you want to get promoted as a DEA agent, you don't get it by being reasonable. If you were to say, I'm a DEA agent, yeah, Panos and Katie really weren't doing anything. Sure, they were breaking the law technically, but they weren't hurting anybody. They weren't selling the drugs to kids. They weren't, raping and killing and murdering. So we're just going to pass. Well, guess what? You're not going to get promoted because the other agent who did go after those head shops and got a conviction and $100,000 in cash, he's going to get promoted because he's been more aggressive.
And he believes he's more of a patriot. The people that are in the military, they've bought, most of them, hook, line, and sinker, this idea that by being in the military, they are being patriotic. Yeah. That whatever it is that they're told to do by politicians, if they do it without question,
I can see,
that's patriotism. And it, by all evidence, is. Because, patriotism is love for one's country, unrequited love.
I'd like to say I don't consider myself an American because I didn't get to choose to be an American. I was just minding my own business in a state of nothingness.
Who was it that when they were asked where they were born, they said Earth or something like that?
Yeah. Well, I was minding my own business in a state of nothingness, and then poof, there I was, sitting in the kitchen sink at 6 months old with my mom. So I was born an American. I never chose to be an American. I was just put here. I could have just as easily been French or German, Australian. I always wondered, would I be as patriotic if I was born as an Australian or an Indonesian? Or
about those countries, you mean?
About those countries. Would I be like, yes, China is the greatest, most wonderful country ever. I was born in China.
Well, they all have similar trappings. They have flags and, government schools where they indoctrinate people. Many of them don't actually have a Pledge of Allegiance. That's, I think, fairly unique to the United States. But they have hymns that they sing and that they chant and...
Yeah,
I don't know. I think that there's a lot of nationalism in a lot of places.
I say I probably support the military the most because I want to get rid of them. I want to basically lay them all off. Send them home so they don't get killed by improvised explosive devices in countries. And I have to take the sides of the Iraqi insurgents here. We were coming into their country. How would you feel?
I was not going into anywhere.
Yeah. Well,
you mean the federal government?
The federal government. When I say we, okay, yes, Ian and I have this little difference in language. When I say we, I typically mean the federal government, and he'll interject going, I didn't do
actually
anything.
Were in the federal government at one point, but you aren't now.
Yes.
And even when you were in the federal government, you weren't going into that country.
No.
So it's still not an accurate
phrase. But I was getting paid a lot to do their bidding. And so I said, yeah.
And you felt nationalistic, right? You told us earlier that your heart swelled when you got your little ID card or whatever.
It was more like exclusivity. How many people can say they've actually stood in the middle of the CIA's Great Seal? It's like, yes, I'm one of maybe 100,000 people in the United States who have authorization to enter this building called the Central Intelligence Agency and badge in.
But why does that make you feel special? Because of love of the country, right? Because do you feel the same way about being on the radio? Do you get your heart swelling because you're one of 100,000
I guess it's
talk show hosts?
Well, probably the same thing with the FBI. One of the big appeals of it is I got to carry a gun on an airplane, and I'd have like a little shield and my badge and credentials, and my name is Special Agent Park. I am with the FBI. Please step aside. I always imagine what that would be like, and I think in hindsight, it probably wouldn't have been as much fun as it imagined to be.
Toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE. More from Bernie here in moments, and you can take control of the airwaves. You can bring up anything that's on your mind. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. We also have Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. As a pioneer of the e-commerce movement, Overstock.com is proud to be the first major retailer to accept Bitcoin. Overstock was the first because Patrick Byrne, Overstock's CEO and founder, firmly believes in personal freedom and cryptocurrency. Over the past 16 years, Overstock has furnished over 18 million homes with a diverse line of products to suit everyone's unique styles and preferences. Support Overstock and freedom of choice while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich? Working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare? Having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom106.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom, the number 106.com. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom106.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Tuesday, gold is down $1 at $1,235 per ounce. Silver is 7 cents lower at $15.34 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $417 US. Robertson Roberts Brokerage has been helping customers buying and selling precious metals for nearly 40 years. How might we help you? Give us a call at 800-874-9760 or see us online at rrbi.co.
You can watch the LRN Studio Cam and chat with other listeners anytime at cam.lrn.fm. That's cam.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. Moments remain, enough time for you. If you want to join us right now at 855-450-FREE, that's 855-450-3733. You can also join us online anytime you want. Just go to freetalklive.com. And if you haven't yet done so, you can go to 101reasonsfilm.com and check out the 101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire. It's a great hour-long documentary that explains why New Hampshire is the best destination for people who care about liberty. People who might describe themselves as libertarians, voluntarists, anarchists. You really need to take a look at the Free State Project and look at moving to New Hampshire. Go to 101reasonsfilm.com. As we continue with Bernie Sanders, he is indicting people like Roger Ver, who have left the United States in search of more freedom around the globe, as though you have some sort of obligation to stay here. And this is one of the few freedoms you do have, for the most part, if you can afford to leave. which comes back to what you were saying earlier, TJ.
You could renounce your citizenship for free. It was but now they're starting to charge $500, and what's going to happen
because people are doing it.
As more and more people start doing this, it's going to be 5,000, then 50,000, and then it'll be like, well, you can't leave at all because
they would love to have it so you can't leave at all. But right now, you do generally have the ability to travel outside of the United States. And when people do that, you've got Bernie Sanders who's indicting them, saying they're not patriotic, as though you have some obligation to stay here until the day you die. If things are better for you somewhere else because of patriotism, you should just stick it out here in the United States. And we're going to continue with his audio here. This is from Occupy Democrats, their Facebook page. Let me continue. We're about halfway through it. He's showing mansions, luxury stuff.
I cannot understand why people who have billions of dollars are compulsively driven for more and more and more. When is enough?
You mean like the federal government with trillions of dollars compulsively driven for more and more and more? That you want to be in charge of, Bernie?
Yeah, like, Bernie, don't you realize there's a reason the rich people are leaving? I mean, there's a very good reason they're leaving. In fact, I've often thought, am I going to be one of the people to renounce my citizenship? Like, it's kind of one of those things. I've thought about it, and I said, well, at the present time, there's more downsides for me than upsides, but that equation, that balance is changing. It's becoming more and more positives to renounce my U.S. citizenship with each passing year when I see the regulations that I have to abide by, when I see the threat to liberty.
It's not going to get better with Donald Trump or Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton or Ted Cruz, whoever it is.
It used to be like, thank goodness we normalized relations. Like, one of the things I want to do, I want to go to Cuba. And as an American citizen, I am not allowed.
It's getting to the point where you might actually be allowed at some point.
Yes, and that was one of the things. Yes, it was for the longest time.
You want to renounce your U.S. citizenship to move to Cuba?
I think he said wanted to visit Cuba.
I wanted to visit Cuba, and as a U.S. citizen, I was banned by law from visiting Cuba. You had to have a license from the Treasury Department to go visit Cuba.
I got to say that the fact that it's illegal to go to Cuba makes it more interesting to me to go to Cuba.
And so, there are countries. This is what I don't get. Why does the federal
it's illegal to go to North Korea. I wouldn't want to go to North Korea.
I'm sorry, you guys were both just talking over top. What was that, Johnson?
It's illegal to go to North Korea. I wouldn't want to go to North Korea. No, thank you.
I wouldn't mind seeing it if I knew I could get out of North Korea. I would be very interested to visit a place like that because it's a crazy, very, very different place.
Yeah. Well, I believe as a free person, I should be able to go wherever the heck I want. If I want to go to Iran and the Iranian government says yes, you're allowed entry. I don't care if the U.S. government says, no, you're going to be arrested if you go to Iran because we have said you're not allowed to go there. And I'm like, well, okay, I understand. If I go to Iran and the Ayatollah has me arrested on some trumped-up charge, I understand the U.S. government has no obligation to try and get me back. But it's my choice to go there. So why do you get to tell me, and why am I going to be arrested if I come back through customs and they said you went to Iran in violation of U.S. law without a permit? Why is that a crime? I don't understand.
Let's continue here. More with Bernie Sanders.
How many children in this country have got to go hungry?
For the children.
Wait. Did he say how many children have to go hungry?
Yes.
Is that what he said? People aren't hungry in the United States. Poor people in the United States are overweight compared to poor people in other countries. Poor people in like third world countries are actually hungry. People are actually hungry in Venezuela right now. In the United States, poor people eat at McDonald's regularly because they can afford it, because they're really not that poor by comparison to the rest of the world.
Funny how poor people, we're actually saying poor people are overweight. This is a health problem. Like, in what country do we live? I thought, what a marvelous thing that in this country, poor people are actually struggling with obesity instead of starvation.
Yeah,
what an amazing accomplishment.
How many people have got to die because they don't go to a doctor? Because you want to avoid paying your taxes. Well, that's not what America is about. That's not what people fought and died.
Well, actually,
people don't go to doctors because they want to avoid paying their taxes. That makes sense somehow.
It kind of was what America was about, right? We were talking about the founding of the United States being people being frustrated with the taxation from the crown, right? So actually, America really is about avoiding taxes, isn't it? Let's continue here.
Decree. The job of the United States Senate is to represent the middle class, working families of this country, all of the people, and not just the super rich. And I hope we can begin to do that.
Oh, we're just now going to start doing that, right? The U.S. government is now going to start not pandering to the super rich. Why would that be exactly? Why would anyone in the Senate, in the halls of power, why would they all of a sudden decide, you know what, I'm going to care about the little people rather than the people who are lining my pockets with all kinds of bonuses and cruises and cash and whatever other benefits, prostitutes that they give these people?
Well, maybe we're the stupid ones, Ian. Maybe you and I should go into politics and start fleecing the American taxpayer like all the rest of the Congress is doing. I mean, it's
not as easy as just saying it, though. You'd have to compete with these other leeches who are much better at pitching their.
Well, I mean, I said that's what
ideas.
Lobbyists are for. But I mean, if we got a lobbying firm, I'm sure Free Talk Live, we need some subsidies, public radio subsidies. I mean, we could apply for all kinds of grants. And
yeah, but I wouldn't do that because then you would have to be their bitch. I mean, if you ask them for permission, and they say, they fund you, then you have to do what they say.
Ian, but
right.
I mean, it's a lot of money.
Well, that's just it. I mean, I'm not after money. I'm after getting the word out about liberty.
Darn.
Now, it does cost money to do that, certainly, but ultimately, it doesn't take a whole lot of money to run a radio show.
Yeah, because I kind of wondered. I have degrees in math and computer engineering, and meanwhile, someone who got a degree in political science or English, they got a job with the city government or the federal government making $100,000 a year because they're urban planning specialists. I thought, well, maybe I'm the dumb one. I actually picked a hard major because you couldn't fake your way through calculus class. You actually had to know the right answer. But in political science or economics or English, you can always debate what the correct answer is. So I thought maybe I was the dumb one for getting a degree in engineering. Maybe I should have gotten a degree in political science and then went to work for the government. And
sounds awful.
My only problem, I can't keep my mouth shut. When I see absurdity, I like to point it out to people and say,
well, for talk radio, it's usually a good thing if you can't keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
So, Johnson, suicidal deer, tell me about that.
Oh, yeah. Well, you caught me unawares here. So
it's a pretty short story, though.
Iowa.
You probably summarize it.
Sure. It's happening out in Iowa. There is a sign that is apparently causing some controversy. You know those deer crossing signs that where the deer is jumping or whatever.
Sometimes we have moose crossing here.
They added text below this sign in St. Ansgar, Iowa, and the sign has suicidal deer below that little jumping deer icon.
Cute.
Right? It says suicidal deer. So
it's a joke.
Well, yeah.
Some people don't have a sense of humor, Ian.
Okay, so
no, it's not. I mean, it's not supposed to be a joke. It's actually not supposed to be a joke. I don't think. No.
Why not? That sounds funny.
It is kind of funny, but I don't think it's supposed to be.
Suicidal deer intervention specialist.
Yeah, suicidal deer next 2 miles. The sign along the Iowa Highway 105 sit near Sally Hurdle's land. She says she found the deer sign a little insensitive. And
insensitive to who? The deer?
I don't know. I'm not sure who the sign is supposed to be insensitive to.
It's funny. Why do you not think this is a joke? What makes you think this is serious?
Because what they were trying to do, well, she said she found the sign insensitive, but Becky Dodson, who also lives near the sign, says she thought it was funny. Mitchell County officials got the idea after seeing the postings about a similar sign in central Illinois. Mitchell County Supervisor Stan Walk in Iowa says the county didn't intend to offend anyone in its effort to prevent the accidents.
Wait. This is a county sign? I thought someone went up and modified it.
No. This is actually an official county sign. That's the point.
Oh, I thought someone went up with a stencil and
no, this is an actual road sign that said suicidal deer.
Government officials are not allowed to have
I wouldn't bring it in if it was just somebody altering a sign. This is an official city sign.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the county said that.
So someone has a sense of humor.
Yeah, no, you can't. Government and sense of humor do not go together. I remember.
Right, they'll probably get reamed out for it.
Of course not. I mean, they said it's an effort to prevent accidents caused by the numerous deer in the area. He says officials wanted the sign to be an attention getter, and it has been.
It is. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Where's that from again? Which story? What source?
This is from the AP.
Just send it to me, and then I'll put up our Facebook and the Twitter so you can take a look at it for yourself. There's video, apparently, along with the piece. We'll see you tomorrow night online. In the meantime, over at freetalklive.com.
You can't win if you don't enter, and you actually can improve your chances of winning a prize drawing if you wrinkle up your entry blank. I'm Holland Cook from survivalspeech.com, and I speak from experience. Why this works: if they'll be spinning the drum before drawing, your entry blank will move around more than, and not adhere to, other perfectly flat entry blanks. And if they don't spin the drum and merely reach into a box full of other perfectly flat entry blanks, many of which are sticking together, yours will feel different to the person reaching in. When you win, act surprised. And if you're looking for work, this is a metaphor. For more tips on sticking out in a world where just too much blends into the blah, 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 hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
Rebel Love Show is next, live after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, March 15th, 2016. Silver is trading at $15.27 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,230.